Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are live another Sunday. Not too many left in the regular season. It is week 16. The late slate is in progress, and we're a bit of a mess right now, people. I'm not going to lie. We've almost had a heart attack and an STD in the same day. It's just what it is. We'll explain the heart attack first. We were driving over to the property, the house with the property that the, little studio space is on here. And it's Sunday, of course. People welcome in football Sunday, but in the sense of trying to keep some sense of family tradition alive on a Sunday, we were having dinner with the family at our grandma's house, something we always try to keep in the rotation in Sundays. Even football can still be on, we can still have dinner with the family. And we were driving back over here, and we turned onto the street where we were driving down to here. And as we were turning on, I saw some police car lights on the street, and I was like, okay, somebody got pulled over. That's not good. Tough luck for that guy, because it's not a through street, so it's like a good place to, pull somebody over. You can get off the main road. You can stay out of traffic. So I was like, oh, poor buddy, got busted, maybe speeding or something. But as I turned down to the street, like, half the force is on the street. There's got to be at least, I'll be generous and say maybe 6 police cars on the street, but I bet it was more like 7 or 8. And I mean, for a city this size, Chad, it's a decent sized city. Downtown's got a couple of good buildings going on, but regardless, I guess I don't want to give out too much of the police strategy, but just as a estimation, like, I can't imagine we have more than 20 cars on patrol at one time. Maybe that's a low estimate. Maybe, 30 cars, Chad. But still, I mean, if you have 30 cars, which feels like a lot patrolling this city, I don't even, that might be like way too high. I literally have no idea, Chad, just to try to figure out how much of the police force was there. Again, if it's maybe ballparking at high 30 cars on patrol, like a half to a third of the police force is just in the neighborhood outside the house. So I was like, oh no, they've finally gotten us, chat, because I don't know. I guess, should we consult our lawyers before we admit this? I don't know if we just want to air this out live on the pod, but make no mistake, chat, there are a couple of those, like, those speed camera things that are around town. There's a couple on the highway, but they've started to put up more throughout the city. So kind of end of the summer, into the fall, we got hit with one of those, and it was like, oh, this. I mean, we've gotten hit with a couple of the highway ones, like, way in the past, but it's been years since we've gotten one. And you just get them mailed to you. It's such a stomach drop to get one of the speed camera citations in the mail. And it's not like break the bank if you're, got a steady income. If you're working a job, you should, it's like $70. Like, it's not too bad, but still, it's a decent little slap on the wrist to get you going. And like, hey, you got to be careful putting around town now. And we were like, okay, we'll do our due diligence. We paid that off. And then we got another one, chat. And again, I don't know what the lawyers would advise here, but make no mistake, we may still have the $70 for that one. So it's like, okay, we're just going to sit and wait, and we're going to test the city, chat. How bad do you want it? You're going to have to come and get it from us if you're going to take it. And as I turned down the street today, just saw half the police force outside the car. I was like, oh, well, today's the day. They finally got us. I was like, this seems a little excessive for an unpaid parking ticket, but I guess this is what they thought. I guess they've heard the rumors about us, chat. This is what they thought it would take. Half the force, maybe? They had to send out the SWAT. We didn't see any SWAT or anything like that. So I guess they just chose quantity over quality in this situation. But we were like, okay, finally our sins have caught up to us, chat. We're going to have to pay for our crimes. So we quickly whipped out of there. But make no mistake, like we said, we just had dinner at our grandma's house. So there was a bathroom situation that was on the horizon. So I was like, okay, let's whip down to the old Hy-Vee over here. Let's get this taken care of and formulate a plan. Maybe we can check the bank account. I don't know. Can we make a run for the border, chat? What is the plan? But then it kind of hit us as we were sitting there in the, you got to reset in the Hy-Vee. And it kind of hit us. It was like, no, they would probably send a sheriff out to get you if it was that. And it wouldn't have most likely have been that, chat. The most likely scenario is this is like it's all like a wooded property out here. So it is a good place for people to run and hide. And make no mistake, like, it's a safe neighborhood for the most part. Like, we're very blessed. There's nothing that's really ever gone down in these streets over here. But you go a couple blocks over there, chat, and maybe they're not telling the same story. So as kind of if you can get away from those couple of blocks when you're on the run and you can make it over into these woods, it's at least a decent place you could think you can hide and get away. But the problem is, the wooded area is all still within the city, so they could still surround you and get you in there pretty. It's a place where you could run around and it's not even that thick. It's not really like a dense wooded area, and especially right now in the winter, chat. Like, there's no leaves, there's no green. I mean, you could just see all the way through to the other side. Like, there's really no place to hide. But again, in theory, it's probably better than running through a bunch of houses and the streets and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, that's the most likely scenario. And I think, again, for like an unpaid, if it's like that kind of a thing where they're not chasing somebody, they're I don't know, again, like the whole warrant process for the cops, but I think they would send maybe a sheriff. Maybe a sheriff's, maybe I'll find out in a couple of weeks, chat. But it definitely wouldn't also be like half the force to come out for that. But I think probably just like mail you another one and just be like, hey buddy, did you forget about this? But we were like, okay. And plus, again, if they're chasing somebody through the woods, we're like, okay, well, they probably don't want us just wandering through back into this studio over here just to, start watching NFL Red Zone while there's an active investigation going on. So we're like, we'll give them a minute, whip around. But then we came back in, and yeah, that was actually what ended up happening. There was a guy running through the woods. But as it turns out, of course, he was actually up on this property here running around too. So thankfully, nobody was home. God is good, chat. The family was all out. Everybody has stayed safe, and all is well. But yeah, the minute we turn onto the street, that's the most police cars I've ever seen on this street, and maybe just a street in general at one time. Again, I think 6 was just maybe, it was at least 8. I don't know. Should we ask the neighbor? Call in, neighbor, if you got a count on the cars. But yeah, I guess, I mean, everybody's in right now because, of course, it's winter and football is on. So fortunately that the one place that he was running into, there wasn't anybody home. So that all worked out, chat. Doors are locked. The place is stashed. We're protected. I think if somebody breaks in right now, we're not gonna start telling us what's stashed in here, but we've got nothing illegal, that's for sure, chat. Unless, of course, we want to start making some crazy jokes. But we do have like we do have some dumbbells in here, chat. We do have like this, and I can show this because this is definitely not going to be bragging. We got a couple of dumbbells in here that, could make you form an opinion. But this is just a couple of 5-pounders here attached on. So this is a good, no judgment-free zone. Nobody feels bad. Not that we would do that. I guess would make ourselves feel bad. But we've got like this little dumbbell here, but it's got, you screw on the weights, so you've got like the little edge as well. So again, like some of the non-adjustable dumbbells that we have in the heavier sizes, I mean, those would be effective just for the the blunt force trauma of it. But this, you also get the little, you get the more precise attack, I guess, as well. If again, at home invasion, chat, if you need to step up and defend the family at a moment's notice. So I think before the recording, we were doing some reps, trying to get some swings in, see what the game plan is. Because, well, should we test it out, chat, real quick? Because the thing is, if you want to make it effective using this, like, do you want to go kind of wide and get him around? But then, obviously, that's not effective for throwing a punch. You want, and we're not a boxer anyway, so we're not going to start throwing too many punches because, our form's going to be worse than Stephen A. You guys are going to roast us for that. But, do we want to, like, try to, like, keep it into a normal punch and hit him, like, with a couple of dumbbells? And again, it's still, like, hitting him with extra weight, and that's not going to be good. Or do we want to try to kind of go wide and hit him with that point on the end? Chat, what's the best way to... Is this a hot start, chat? What's the best way to defend yourself for a home invasion? Make no mistake, chat. We are... I mean, this is what we're talking about when it comes to our weapons of choices here. It's like, some dumbbells. Like, do we have to improvise with the mason jar over here? Start getting creative? Because, yeah, we're not owning you know, any other types of weapons. But you know, maybe a bat or two, chat. Do we need to stock up on a baseball bat? We're again not a baseball pod, so we don't have any bats just as like a byproduct of baseball being around. I think shout out to Champ. I think he might have a bat just to have a bat. Like, I don't know if his bat's like modified as well too. I know Billy Buckets probably has a modified bat, but like that's just they have bats to have the protection. Pause. But you know, some people you just have them because baseball's in your life. You're a baseball fan. You got to have them around. You're playing. You're an active baseballer. But yeah, we're kind of limited. I guess, you know, maybe again the mason jar, the hydro flask. Like we could improvise. Oh, there's like an elephant figurine over here, chat, with some tusks on it. I guess if we could get really crazy, we're not able to scan as fast as the Equalizer, but you know, if you have a minute to at least pre-lay out your surroundings, because that is the thing, chat. At least now that we know, like, hey, we have to be on alert. Like, at the end of the day, this is our home turf, so we have the game plan advantage. We know where to go. We know where stuff is at. We know what we could use at a moment's notice if we potentially needed it. I mean, you know, there's pens and stuff in here as well, too. I guess if things really start going down, chat. Is there any way to burn him with this little space heater? Things would be getting going really crazy, but yeah, that was that was a crazy moment seeing that much of the force out there. Because like we're saying, chat, you know, again, we've been fortunate enough to not really have anything go down on the streets right outside our house over here, because this is a good location. Again, it's not really a through street. There's not a ton of just normal traffic that would be passing through in general, so they stay kind of, you know, quiet just as a byproduct of that. And you know, as long as the people on the streets stay chill, like everything's gonna stay kind of calm, because there's no like migrating stuff that could potentially pass through. Because I guess on each side of these neighborhoods, I guess, are we laying out too much of the location, chat? But this is kind of like outside of across the street, like we're saying, across the main part of the street. So there's like a main road, and then across that, then, you know, maybe the police are a little active on that side of the street, chat, that's for sure. But, you know, over here, it's like this neighborhood, and then there's kind of like businesses and pseudo commercial stuff going on that aligns it. So again, it's like as long as the people in this like 2-block area here stay pretty calm, things are going to go down, or things aren't going to go down. And for the most part, for as long as we've been chilling here, chat, things have been staying good. So like we're saying, if they need to send 9 police cars out to try to enforce an unpaid parking ticket on us, maybe those kind of stories are why this neighborhood, maybe people are just, you know, they're like, well, we don't need to bother the guys down in there. But yeah, a time or two, a guy will run over. There's been a time or two late at night, you know, guys have been chased through every now and then. Maybe once a year would be maybe pushing it, chat. Twice a year, if my memory is just, if I'm thinking optimistic, maybe it does happen twice a year. But you know, once a year, barely, chat. And again, if it is them chasing a guy, it's never this much. So maybe it was a calm Sunday. Everybody was like, let's get involved. But I think this guy was definitely up to no good as well. So they felt the need to go chase him. But eventful stuff, chat. We're not going to start looking up the police reports. That's going to give up too much location information. But maybe we'll do it on our own time to see what happened. We'll hit up some connects, chat. We don't have a lot of connections in the NBA or NFL yet, but make no mistake, we might actually have a couple into the police force. It is what it is. Some that'll actually give us some information, though. That might be a different scenario. Maybe they're just maybe we just, probably not. They usually stay pretty tight-lipped. But anyways, chat, like we were saying, I guess I thought we mentioned something else as well too that we almost I forgot about that, chat. Yeah. Apparently our preacher said, whoa, we did not get the STD from our preacher. Pause. This is not a Catholic not a Catholic priest situation. Hey, yo, whoa. That might be a more dangerous comment than the guy running through our neighborhood here. But The preacher did say, chat, as we were leaving church today, that if whoever wasn't there tonight was just going to get like a big rash, which, make no mistake, is wild. But I guess that confirms our suspicions, chat. That last girl was not clean. It's just what it is. It's just what it is, chat. There's nothing you can do about it. So I guess, you know, we're going to have to hope our prayers are answered on this one. So I guess medical conditions aside, no. Medical conditions aside, chat, we will proceed with week 16 of the NFL season. We will just see what happens. Juju Smith-Schuster, on the lateral, chat. Things are getting crazy right now. And the heart attack was also a little bit because the Titans were storming back on the Colts there for a second. It looked like the Colts were going to pretty calmly take care of Mason Rudolph. And they got it to within one score. I don't know. Did they end up covering? I feel like Vegas was probably maybe a slightly more in on. Maybe, I guess it would be more slightly down on the Colts than it would be in on the Titans, chat. They wouldn't be like, you know, Mason Rudolph, sneaky guy. Is he going to keep it close? But, yeah, Indy by 4. At home against the Titans, chat? 4? That seems a little disrespectful. It's only a field goal plus one. That we couldn't be 5-6-point favorites against Tennessee. But I guess, I don't know. We beat them by 8, so Vegas was... we did beat them by more than 8, though, chat. We were dominant this entire game. And I guess Anthony Richardson's stat line, it is what it is, chat. It looks good in some parts. I mean, 7 for 11, that's not a bad completion percentage. Again, 11 passes is maybe not what we would envision as a modern day game plan in the NFL. But the thing is, chat, like, Anthony Richardson is at his best when he is... Anthony Richardson is at his best when he's not throwing passes, chat. It's just what it is. But, again, there's like a simplicity to... And it is maybe... it is what it is, chat. They need to run an option offense with Anthony Richardson at quarterback. I just can't deny it anymore. I've been on here for 15-plus weeks. You know, I guess maybe even more than a year trying to defend Anthony Richardson. I feel like I haven't heard anybody else, chat. I can't think of another person at this point that I would at least... I can't think of another sports person that is in on Anthony Richardson. In that... I don't want to just put that out there either, too, because, like we're saying, we still have faith in the guy, so we don't want to just crush his hopes by saying there's nobody left, but the island is looking bleak right now, chat. We've been wandering the island for quite some time, and we haven't bumped into any human life for a while. So, you know, draft time, it formed into quite a big island. So it is one of those situations where we could just wander around for a long time, and maybe we wander into like a whole village. Like, there could be a whole mini little civilization on a portion of the island that we just don't know about yet. Just because, again, the island is still... you know, it's the most athletic quarterback we've ever had in the history of the Combine. It's quite a bit of stock that was, I think, invested into Anthony Richardson at that time. Oh, chat, and once again, the NFL Red Zone cuts out. I don't know why it logs us out and just refuses to load back in, but those NFL Plus bugs, chat, they need to be fixed. Get your streamers under control. But regardless, like we were saying, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of stock in the league left that this is a guy that the Colts should be proceeding with as the quarterback for their face of their franchise. But like we were saying, we still believe. But, I mean, if he's at his best when he's throwing 10 passes, that is probably something that we should start taking seriously. Like I said, Sam is, you know, focused on the health portion of it as well too, and his availability not being on the field is, and you know, not just the health as well too. There was a portion of the season where he was subbing himself out, but I mean, he did have that pick early as well too, and they just kind of totally went away from the passing game. Didn't trust him. Even when Anthony Richardson was running, he had a second rushing touchdown. Well, maybe it was on the first rushing touchdown actually, but one of the touchdowns that he had, one of them got called back, but one of them that he had, he ran in, and it was like crowds celebrating, big lead. You know, the Colts, I still think we're in the playoff picture, right? We're not mathematically eliminated yet. we're still potentially could put together a winning season, which I think if you looked back at that, Anthony Richardson, his second season, I know it had his ups and downs, but just on paper, a winning record would be quite an achievement. Maybe that is because of the ups and downs. Like, how did they manage? But, that could be in some ways a good thing. But Taylor had 30 carries, and he was fantastic as well. He had 218 yards, 3 touchdowns. And if he hadn't dropped the ball over the goal line last week, he probably would have been back in the best running back in the league conversation. Is this the best running back performance that anybody has had this year, chat? It has to be from a fantasy standpoint, right? Am I missing just a major fantasy week? Let me see if I can look at fantasy. Oh, chat, I haven't even looked at fantasy yet either. Not just because we were on the run from the cops, but because with the Thursday and the Saturday games, the bye week, we thought the bye week was going to make our fantasy team rusty. It turns out it made the fantasy manager rusty, and we were just not prepared to set our lineup in time. And we played Russell Wilson over Bo Nix, which was not disastrous. So it's like a 5 point. 5 points can add up across position. It's quite a bit. It's like 18 to 23 for Bo Nix. But Bo Nix had 20 plus. He was on our bench. Russell Wilson was still in. I thought we subbed that out already. But Sleeper, see, we changed our lineup 2 weeks ago when we were on the bye, but Sleeper must not have changed it in the matchup portion for some reason, or for this next week or whatever. I don't know what happened. I guess we can't make excuses. We should have checked our lineup sooner. But we also had Gus Edwards on our bench, had 20 points. We did our due diligence. We had Dobbins throughout the year, and when Dobbins went on IR, we got Dobbins in our IR slot. We picked up Gus Edwards. And, we still have, Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, Tony Pollard, and I think Breece Hall was the 4 running backs that we were going with. So 2 running backs in the flex. But Gus Edwards had a 20-pointer, and then Zay Flowers had like 15 points as well, too. So our bench putting up almost 100 points, we were like, well, that means our starting lineup's probably not going to do that, and we're definitely going to lose. So I just haven't checked it, assuming that the rest of the team has played bad. And I think Nico Collins did okay on Saturday. I think he got like 12 points, so it's like, okay, I need him to get like 25 if I'm going to win. That's why I'm in the position that I am. And yeah, chat, it's turning into a disastrous day. My fantasy season is over. Unless Bucky Irving can just have a massive performance tonight. Breece Hall had 14. Pollard had 8. Yeah, the running back killed me. I was playing against Kyron Williams. Yeah, Kyron Williams with 20. McLaurin with 17. Metcalf with 14. This is the team I'm going up against. Brian Thomas with 5. Chase Brown with a decent little 13. And Njoku with 14 is not bad. But yeah, Puka with 13 and Nico Collins with 13. So I guess at the end of the day, we can't really be too mad about how we mismanage the flex positions, because I guess, we can do the best to help out our star players as well, too. When they don't perform well, we got to maximize our lineup all the way around. But if Puka and Nico Collins are going to get 26 combined points, then we're probably going to be losing anyways. But typically I like gearing my team to, I just don't like guys playing on short weeks. So any guys in like a Thursday night game, just unless it's a main dude, then I have a hard time playing him. But if it's like Bo Nix versus Russell Wilson, again, for as good as Bo Nix has played, it's like Bo Nix, short week, Chargers defense, I probably, might be okay with getting away with Russell Wilson as the starting quarterback. And same with Gus Edwards on that short week. So I guess I should have accounted for the touchdowns because Dobbins was kind of the same thing. But I was kind of hoping the Denver defense would step up a little more than that as well. But I guess we were going up against the Denver defense, so weirdly it worked out. We should have... See, it should have just been that sort of simple thing. Like, we're going up against the Denver defense. So if we need them to do bad, that means the Chargers are going to do good. That means Gus Edwards is probably going to do good. We should have just played Gus Edwards to neutralize that. But regardless, if Bucky Irving gets like 30 tonight, we might be able to... All eyes on Breece might be alive for one more week. But honestly, at this point of the fantasy season, I get more pride in, and I'm saying this as I'm losing in the playoffs, so take this with a grain of salt, of course, but I take more pride in where you finish in the regular season than where you finish in the playoffs, because these last couple of weeks in the NFL, make no mistake, chat, these are just crazy weeks. I mean, we're seeing it right now. Players are in and out with injury. Mahomes is limping around. He still looked good on Saturday, of course, though. But guys are in and out. Teams are being eliminated from the playoffs. Teams are clinching playoff scenarios. So, like, destinies are being determined. And now over these last, especially week 17 and 18, I guess, is Fantasy Championship just last week, though? Is it just 17? Let me double check the bracket. But maybe it's just this year as well, too, Chad. It feels like the playoff picture is kind of forming a little bit sooner. Oh, yeah, chat. One game away from the championship game. Oh, sick to my stomach. It's tough. Now we have to build it up back again next year. All because we did not play Penix over Russell Wilson. It was 5 points short. Would we have gotten this win, chat? Let's see. Pollard. Yeah, Pollard versus Gus Edwards is a 12-point difference. That's pretty crazy. That would put us in the lead right now. And then those 5 points. So it's 7. Yeah, I mean, see, that's the thing. It adds up. 17 points we're missing out on. Jeez. I mean, that is kind of the difference between Puka and Nico. Oh, Chad. Why is the NFL screwing us with these Saturday games, chat? What is going on? Why are they turning into the NBA? The nice thing about the NFL is on Sunday, I sit down, I place my bets, I know my fantasy team is on, and I just make it all happen in one day. I take a day, we get the sports thing done, and then you go back to work for the rest of the week. Now, the NBA is great because you get home at night from work, you throw on the NBA, you have a good time relaxing to that. But the eventizing of the NFL is the thing that makes it great. And yes, the NFL games themselves are events, but is the single day a part of that, chat? And I guess this is something to keep an eye on as the league goes forward, because the league is too established at this point, I guess, to say that fracturing it over these different games would make it less special. But it is just math a bit too, chat. Like we're saying, we're still blue-collar working-class Americans that are consuming these sports. Like, at the end of the day, the ability for us to take a day and commit it to the NFL over, the course of the year, for us to just know that Sundays for this stretch of the year is going to be the NFL season just makes it easier to work it into the schedule around the rest of the stuff they have to do with your life. And it's not even just throwing it on the TV and watching it as well, chat, because, yeah, that is, make no mistake, like the TV dollar is probably their biggest single contract that they have, right, chat? But, I mean, the live gate as well, too, like, that can't be underestimated, obviously. And at the end of the day, for sort of anything, I think live gate is going to be kind of the way to go in terms of a business model, if you're trying to build it out that way. But, and I don't think the NBA is necessarily across the board struggling to get people in the arenas for the most part. But, as the NFL is like, hey, could the NFL have a game on every day of the week? And I don't even know if that's just logistically possible. But, I mean, we're getting close, chat. There's NFL sometimes on 4 different days out of the week. You go Sunday, Monday, Thursday. I mean, would we have a week where it goes Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday? So 5 days? Is that on the docket, chat? What does it look like next week for Christmas? Because we have the Wednesday game. So do we have Wednesday instead of Thursday? Should I know what the Week 17 schedule should have looked like already? Let's see here. No, yeah, chat. We have 2 games on Wednesday, a game on Thursday, 3 games on Saturday. So I don't even know what they're leaving for Sunday. I guess everybody is back. No bye weeks, so there is a lot to work with. But you just think about it. We got Sunday this week, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then Sunday again. That's 6 out of 8 days, chat. 5, 6 out of 8 days that the NFL is going to be on. Like, Chargers, what's this Saturday's game? Chargers Patriots at 12 on Saturday is still probably going to do decent numbers for a TV show. And for a program over the airwaves, it's still probably going to be okay. Bengals Broncos at 3:30 p.m. on Saturday. Cardinals Rams, the NFL Network primetime game on a Saturday night. Cardinals eliminated from the playoffs now after a loss today against the Carolina Panthers. But, those people are, again, this is the biggest TV product, biggest maybe just entertainment product in general that, is it the world, chat? That just if you were looking for it in its market, is it the most dominant thing in its market from an entertainment aspect? I'm not really certain, but you just have this dominant thing. It's still gonna get the numbers, but is it gonna be the same? And these fan bases are so large at this point, and they're passed down generationally in a way that the rest of the sports I don't think have figured out necessarily how to capture that either, outside of a couple of the larger market teams. But, chat, it's just harder to keep up with the sport if they're going to fracture it out and they're going to spread it out over the course of the week. And if they're going to make you commit to it more, it's going to be harder to keep up with it. It's like trying to keep up with an NBA YoungBoy discography or, Gucci Mane or somebody. So if you're going to drop 68 albums in a year, I'm probably not going to listen to all of them. There's a couple of mixtapes I'm probably just going to take off. If there's games on every day of the week, there's probably going to be nights that I'm not tuned in. There's going to be, especially as well as you isolate some of these games and you risk Chargers Patriots. That is actually kind of a fun game because, Drake May is going toe-to-toe with Josh Allen right now. Is Drake May better than Josh Allen, chat? Is it happening before our very eyes? But, certain games you may not necessarily feel the need to prioritize as well, too, if that's all that is going to be taking place on that day. Because I think that's what happens as well. You can get away with your bad teams playing and still people focusing on that if the event is focused around the day. And again, the day is more than just watching the games because, and especially with all the ratings talk right now for the NBA, I get that there is a star thing for the NBA. We've talked about that with Sam, and we've, there's a lot of conversation on what the NBA needs to do to increase the just general viewing interest in their product. But at the end of the day, the NFL has these outside influences that draw people in more so than just the NFL itself. You're watching for the gambling and you're watching for the fantasy football. I mean, those two things cannot be understated, and the importance of people sitting down and being invested in every single game, in the games that are not their own team, and maybe even more so than their own team. Again, as these sports, and as the NFL, I think maybe is the best sport for passing down fandom generationally. I guess maybe is baseball in the mix, but the problem is it's just not being passed down, so probably not. But again, I feel like the only way people watch baseball is if it is passed down, so that's why I was thinking it was kind of in the mix. But you get and I guess even if you're not necessarily this kid is a fan of my team, the kids are usually picking up an NFL team of their own or players and such. But the investment that people have into these other outside factors for the NFL, I mean, that is to me the thing that makes it the most fascinating league. And it's not just that I'm saying, it's still the product and the entertainment of the game itself, and it's worthy of being as big as it is. But I mean, fantasy football might be bigger than the NBA, chat. I don't know how you would calculate those ratings, but just the people invested into fantasy football compared to the amount of people vested into the NBA. If people were able to be competitive in their viewing experience the same way in the NBA, it makes you a part of the NFL in some way. And it doesn't, maybe not a part of the NFL is the right term, but a part of the competitiveness of the day. You're hyped for more than just the win. In a way, maybe you actually kind of accomplished something. And again, these are the very loosest ways for people actually feeling a senses of accomplishment. But make no mistake, chat, we're all doing it right now. Pause on a Sunday. But, you're okay, I set my lineup. I drafted my team. I did pick up the guy on the waiver wire. I get it's sort of out of my control what he does at the end of the day, but I still put him in and thought the matchup, I kind of made the the thing happen in fantasy. Like, I still went through the bet slip and picked the thing. Like, I get, maybe it is luck at the end of the day if he rushes for over 78.5 yards or under. But, like, I did put it in the slip, and I did bet on it, and I did think it was a good idea. So, at the end of the day, like, I kind of am a winner as well, too, on Sunday. And, yeah, the NBA and I guess, baseball, all these things have these things. But we just know, chat, that they're not as popular, and they're just not as functional. And, like, just the one-day thing, especially from the fantasy standpoint, cannot, because like we're saying, the NFL just literally adds in, like, the normal schedule is Sunday and Thursday, and it's like, okay, I as a fantasy guy, I can get used to that. The middle of the week, I know there's a game in there. Odds are I hopefully don't have a guy on that team that's playing, because I like a guy on a good team, and hopefully that means they're in a prime time, like a Sunday night or a 3 o'clock or something like that. But if I do, I check it once, I make sure to get him in or out. And it is what it is. But if I got to be in my lineup every day, the waiver wire becomes weird with guys like, when are they cleared? When are they not? Who can you pick up? Who can you can't? Guys are getting hurt. All this weird stuff. It becomes a little too investing into the team. Like, make no mistake, I want to feel the sense of accomplishment of putting together a winning team. But I've also got to seat people at this restaurant during the week. I don't have time to invest like these GMs. Like, I only have one day out of the week to run this lineup, or a couple hours at night. So all that being said, these Saturday games screwed me, chat, and I'm out of the playoffs. I'm going to be eliminated from the fantasy playoffs. The NFL should just even take away the Thursday games, and I'd be happy. Move it to just one game a week. No, chat, I love watching the football. I love watching the NFL. So if the NFL is on, and if the NBA, if I'm not gonna want to watch the NBA games that are on, then yeah, I'll throw the NFL games on. But the one day, it's all taking place at one time. The red zone factor, where I have the ability now to kind of see everything that's going on as well, just makes it so much better. But the rest of the sports have not figured out how to do that. Not that the NBA could. I mean, you couldn't even do 82 games once a week. It would take you a year and a half just to complete one season. 2 years to, every 2 years they're crowning a champion. I mean, it would make it a lot more, I don't know, chat, would it make it a lot more scarce? At least for guys' careers, you're going to cut in half the amount of championships that they should win. So I go the other way with it, chat. People are calling for a shorter season. I say longer, same amount of games, longer season, once a week. We'll take Thursday. The NFL can have Sunday. The NBA can have the middle of the week. Everybody plays Thursday. Maybe twice a week, chat. The NBA, it is basketball. Once a week is kind of, I mean, we're still grown men here, chat. We can play twice a week. We go like a Tuesday, Friday ordeal for the NBA. 41 weeks. Just take a whole year almost to win a championship. And then, guys really have to lock in, chat. I don't know. Does the load management just become really crazy? But, I mean, the guys are that's about as fresh as you could be. And, again, the championships, how many championships are you going to win in your career? If Jordan won 6, I mean, it would take you 8 years to win 6 championships, But maybe there's a different way to workshop around the season schedule. But anyways, chat, I hate to do this early, pause, but let me just take a quick timeout here and see if I can get the red zone going back on the big screen. I'll be quick, chat. Let's see if we can make this happen. Scott Hansen, tell your little IT guys to get it on over, just tell them to make it work on our computer, please. Okay, chat. Well, I'm not going to lie. The NFL desktop app experience is a little bit mid, and it works about half the time, as you can tell from the last couple of episodes. But the mobile experience is solid. So we'll go Patriots Bills on the bigger screen. We'll go NFL Red Zone. Sorry, Scott Hansen. Shout out. You know, in our hearts, we were going to put you on the bigger screen, but you'll have to just go small screen today. It's not your fault. It's the NFL IT issues for, or maybe it's just whoever made this laptop. It can't keep up with the demands of NFL Red Zone. But Patriots Bills is giving us a good game. Oh, and as we say that, they're reviewing a Ramondre Stevenson fumble. This could be the turning point. It's on the Bills side of the field, so it would be a short field, almost in field goal territory, with a chance to take the lead, because they have 14-0, chat. Did we see that right earlier? I guess we don't want to give Drake May too much credit, but what does it say here, chat? Yeah, they were up 14-0, and then of course Josh Allen, I guess Haley Steinfeld texted him and said she was gonna call off the engagement, and he said, "Oh, wait a second," put up a couple more touchdowns on the board. But shout out to the quarterbacks right now, chat. Is this the #1 era for quarterback celebrity relationships? Because I feel like when I was younger, it was always kind of like the idea that the quarterback always got the girl was definitely a thing, but it still felt like the quarterbacks that we had in the league were all like, all their girls were like from college, and they like met them from back in the day, and it was like all like these, you know, like traditional stories, chat, of like people meeting in school and growing up together and, you know, starting a family. And because like I'm trying to think, chat, I guess, you know, Rodgers is of course been a lone wolf for a lot of his career. You know, he's been in relationships but hasn't necessarily locked himself down. But I know like both of the Mannings, I mean Phillip Rivers, of course, iconic family man, chat. I guess Romo had the celebrity relationship in there. Of course, I guess Brady as well too had the big celebrity relationship, and maybe that definitely contributed. But like even AJ McCarron, chat, of course the iconic Brent Musburger clip, the Brent Musterburger. Shout out to the Santa Claus is Coming to Town movie as well. But Brent Musburger with the iconic AJ McCarron. Oh wow, kids, this is why you play quarterback. They get all the girls. Look at this chick. Because make no mistake, chat, that, I mean, AJ McCarron's girlfriend was, I mean, definitely worthy of a couple compliments. That's for sure, chat. But I guess we've just lost our position at ESPN now going forward. But, like, even, she wasn't a celebrity, I don't think, right? Was she, like, let's look, oh, chat. Was she, like, a Miss American? Something like that. So maybe she was a little kind of celebrity. Oh, chat. I love it when you get exposed to the... Now we have to research AJ. Oh, twice we've had to search it, chat. That's embarrassing. But, she was crowned Miss Alabama in 2012, then went on to finish top 10 in Miss Alabama... in Miss US competition 2012 as well. So they announced their engagement on 2014. So I guess right as she got into the Miss America scene and right as he kind of got into the scene as the quarterback. So I guess that could go down as kind of a celebrity relationship. So again, I feel like it was a little more 50-50 maybe back in the day. But now it feels like, I mean, all the top quarterbacks now, chat, have these like celebrity girlfriends. I mean, I guess outside of Mahomes, I'm thinking of Kelsey as a quarterback. All these players. Kelsey is at quarterback status though, name-wise, because of his girlfriend. Shout out. But, and of course, because Kelsey is a great player. He's been on a big scene. He's done good things with his podcast, but because of his girlfriend as well. But, I guess Mahomes is the one family guy in the league. So maybe that's the secret, chat. Maybe the secret is you need a family man. You need an old school, just traditional, meet the girl type of guy. But, I mean, now we got what? We got, like we were saying, Kelsey is with Taylor Swift. Josh Allen's engaged to Haley Steinfeld. And as we now know, thanks to, I don't know if it was the same home intruder that was running around this place, but thanks to a home intruder in Cincinnati, we now know that Joe Burrow himself has a celebrity girlfriend as well. So all these top guys, chat, seem to be doing okay for themselves off the field, that's for sure. But like we're saying, that crossover seems to be at an all-time. And I guess we don't want to start putting labels on Burrow and his. We're just, you know, all these guys seem to be involved with some kind of other celebrity chick. So I guess to me that's not surprising, but just seeing, and again, not the celebrity aspect of it, but it seemed like these guys, that was more the case, like we're saying, back in the day. Like you just didn't hear about it as much, I don't think. And Rodgers, you know, I guess like we're saying, he's been in and out of relationships, but that still would have been kind of more at the end of the Manning's run, the Rivers run as well. You know, Matt Ryan, I feel like he's an old school guy, right, chat? Any of the golly jeepers quarterbacks, chat, the gosh darn it quarterbacks are all, you know, family men, married, kids, been around for a while. And again, not saying that these guys are family men, but the you know, oh wait, you guys met at 14 and somehow you're still making this work at 50? Like, I don't know how. I guess these quarterbacks haven't made it to 50 yet, so we'll give it a C and see if it happens. But yeah, is this the peak for celebrity NFL relationships? Like, just what were the iconic ones back in the day? Because they don't seem to live on in infamy. Infamy, is that the right term, chat? They don't seem to live on in history. Infamy is usually bad, I think. They don't seem to live on in history as like a talking thing passed down. I mean, there are celebrity relationships, of course, that could be famous for a variety of reasons. But, you know, from the athlete standpoint, I'm trying to even think throughout history what would be the most iconic. And maybe we're just, you know, having an all-time blank session, chat. I mean, like we're saying, there are, of course, those iconic relationships, but they just don't seem to be like a big talking point for them. And I'm talking like 70s. Well, there is DiMaggio, Marilyn Monroe. That is one. That's baseball. Baseball, of course, was America's sport back in the day. Baseball was America's football. So that makes sense. So that one came to mind. Robin Givens, of course, and Mike Tyson was the first one that comes to mind. But yeah, DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe. What else is there, chat? Like from, you know, if we can dip back into the day. Like, was Otto Graham in a celebrity relationship? Was Johnny Unitas running around with the other actresses of the day? I don't know who these people were. When did Bette Midler start acting? Like, who was the quarterback when Bette Midler was in the mix? Like, like, who are these guys running around with back in the day? And it just seems like now the celebrities, maybe just the celebrity status of the players has gone up. But again, you think of like a Lawrence Taylor back in the day. Like, I mean, he would have been perfect for Hollywood circles, chat. There's no way that he was not doing cocaine with a couple of music executives in some of those clubs in New York. Or, I guess, Wall Street guys or whatever. You know, but he was definitely taking a couple lines off a couple celebrities at some point in a club. All right. Is it too soon for this, chat? Hey, I don't know. This is Sunday. It's the Lord's Day. We probably shouldn't be getting too graphic, but like we're saying, it just seems to be a prominent thing that we're hearing about now for these guys. And maybe because, again, like, you know, with Joe Burrow, like, I guess there would have been a version of that celebrity back. I guess, you know, because was Snapchat, you know, like, is that just like a magazine back in the day or whatever? Like, I guess maybe there are versions of still the same thing. But also, the amount of celebrities now are definitely more prominent. And there's, you know, celebrities who aren't even really celebrities. Like, I mean, she's definitely a celebrity. She's definitely high profile. But, you know, there's also just like these chicks on Instagram that you'll just like have hundreds of thousands to millions of followers. And I guess the millions of followers, they are celebrity. And it is a worldwide thing as well, too, now with the connection with that, where, you know, you might have 1 million followers from, you know, 1 million followers, 800,000 of them might be from a separate country. So yeah, it's like maybe, okay, you have 200,000 followers in America. And even still, like, that's a crazy amount, but that's not like walk down the street and people necessarily know who you are. But even if there was just like a person with 200,000, I guess that is a celebrity. And, make no mistake, there's a chance that that person is being DM'd by some athlete right now. And they're probably, there's a conversation being started, chat. So I guess maybe just access to all of this stuff is easier. Because I guess that's a part of it too. The DMs is probably a big thing. Now, I don't know. I'm not like reading articles on the Joe Burrow thing, but I did see, I think, an Instagram post that said that, or was it a comment on a post? Maybe, I don't even remember. But there was like I thought I saw something that said that he was seen talking to this lady at maybe like a fashion week somewhere. So that's how it would have gone down back in the day, chat. It would have had to have been people connecting through these like events and at the games and at the at the spots afterwards as well too. Like it back in the day, it would have actually had to have been people interacting for the celebrity crossover to happen. Now, if a player is, Josh Allen is in Cincinnati, I don't know exactly where the person that he's the person that he's involved with right now is based out of. But if you have a quarterback in Cincinnati, I mean, think about Cincinnati as well, too, back in the day. Now, Chris Collinsworth has talked about, there are clips of Collinsworth talking about he had no problem with the ladies back in Cincinnati, back in his playing days as a player. But, again, we're talking about the celebrity NFL crossover that seems to be kind of peaking, or at least gaining steam right now, chat, as more and more of these relationships pop up. Like, Collinsworth is just having to dip into the Cincinnati pool. Like, that's what he's got to work with, chat. Whoever's in Cincinnati on that night is who is going to be getting the money thrown at Collinsworth is when you throwing a couple of dollars their way that night. And, maybe there are people going, of course there are throughout history, people going into these towns because the players are there with the intention of, trying to get something out of these players. Pause, but we know probably money as well too, chap. But, and we're not making a sweeping generalization. We're saying there's a small few select people that are doing this. We're just saying that this is a part of maybe a couple people in the crowd at this night. Like, yeah, there might be people with the purpose for that, but again, it's whoever is in the city is who you're going to be talking to. And yeah, you're going to be, maybe you play a game in New York, you play in LA, and then, oh, that's your chance, chat, once every 4 years. Oh, now all of a sudden we're in the big city. Let's make sure our A game is strapped on. But now if you're in Cincinnati and you see a chick in New York, you see a chick in LA, you just shoot her a little DM, and now all of a sudden you're talking on the down low. Hey, we're playing in LA in a couple of weeks. You want to get together? You want to meet up sometime? Let's get dinner somewhere. Let's meet up at this spot. Let's do whatever. And, now all of a sudden things are happening before you're even connecting in the city. And it's not even like we're in the city. Oh, this celebrity decided to be at this spot at this time, and you were at this spot at this time. And now all of a sudden, fate has it that you're brought together. Like, no, you can kind of initiate stuff. We all know this as well too, chat. So I don't think that, we're not breaking news here, chat. We're just talking out why. Do we have to figure out why the quarterbacks get all the girls, chat? Again, Brett Musburger told us as kids, and it's stuck in our minds ever since, chat. We hung up the tire the day afterwards. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out for us. But yeah, shout out to the quarterbacks right now in the NFL. And, Travis Kelce as well too. There are other guys. I don't know what the full list is. Those are the names, of course, that are hot in the news right now. So those are the ones that come to top of mind. But, there's other skill positions. And I guess there's other, there's other people that have become celebrities as well. Like, Kyle Juszczyk's wife. And this is not, to disrespect. Like, she's become, I guess, a celebrity. She has become a celebrity in her own right, making her the jackets. So that's kind of a bad example. Because it was, I guess, for a guy like me, that's how I got the connection. But again, like, she built her own thing there based off her own talent. So, but, there are a couple people that you hear about maybe, again, they kind of get into the limelight a little bit more because of their position next to the quarterback. But, there's just a lot of, make no mistake, there's a lot of Instagram models dating NFL players right now, chat. It's just what it is. And, hey, who can blame them, chat? who can blame him either way? We're talking about, the finest that America has to offer in terms of athletes and in terms of, I guess, athletes is, I guess everybody's an athlete at some point, chat. But, we're talking about the 1% in a different way. That is for sure. But something to monitor, chat, as well. And I guess extra motivation for a guy like Drake May. Maybe that's why he's playing so well tonight. He's like, all eyes are on us, chat. We've got a chance to maybe, get a couple of people interested. Maybe now the DMs can become a little bit stronger. The follower count goes up. The stats look good. There's some good highlights. That's the thing, chat. Maybe, they look up the page, so they go, oh, no, you 3-11, your team sucks. But they look up the Drake May highlights, and they go, well, Drake May's balling out. Like, Drake May's doing everything right. Drake May's fine. And maybe Drake May might be a family man. Like, I don't know what's going on with the Drake May history. Like, Trevor Lawrence is a guy that is, he met his girlfriend in college, right? And is Trevor Lawrence the generational guy? Yeah, I don't know if he's Josh Allen or Joe Burrow. So maybe it's flipped, chat. Maybe it's flipped, and now it needs to be the other way. Mahomes, of course, is still the top dog, but is his lady now too technically a celebrity? His lady has done like magazine shoots and photo shoots and been on covers, and she is a name now as well too. So I guess she is a celebrity now. But if we're talking about how you want to classify it, I guess pick a category. But everybody now, it seems like at the top of the league, and maybe again, like we're saying, it's a little bit of both, but it's also part of that. So I guess Anthony Richardson, choose wisely, buddy. And I don't know, maybe after today, Jonathan Taylor helping out Anthony Richardson's prospects a little bit. I don't know if the Instagram models are into a quarterback that subs himself out in the middle of a game, but I think Anthony Richardson's probably going to do okay if he, ever asks for a number or a DM or something like that. But anyways, Anthony Richardson, like we're saying, he looks good. Drake May, everybody looks good. Just a pause right now, chat. We're talking about on the field. Everybody looks good. Quarterbacks are playing. The Niners don't look good right now, chat. They were eliminated from the playoffs a little bit ago. Should we actually go through the games? Let's pick the games, chat. Let's actually recap what happened here throughout the day. Outside of what happened at Joe Burrow's apartment or whatever. Was it an apartment or I wasn't an apartment, right? Because they broke into his house. So it was an actual house. So maybe, is that the mistake, chat? But I guess if you're going to be living the down low lifestyle, because we haven't, I don't think, ever gotten a report of Joe Burrow's scene with her. It's always been, or I guess it's not always been, but the report was now her at Burrow's. So, if you're going to live the down low lifestyle, that in and out of the apartment is going to increase your chance of people seeing you. Maybe he's not going in and out of the apartment because, make no mistake, chat, up until the news, was there a Snapchat follow? But are you with me, chat? Is Livy Dunn posting Paul Skeens a little too much, chat? Is it just what it is? But am I the only one, chat? Who knows? I can't be the only one out there that, you follow for what you follow for, chat. I'm not following for Paul Skeens. I would follow Paul Skeens. But, anyways, I think a house would be the way. It's got to be gated. You could pull up, car, gate closed. There's a fence around it. The paparazzi would really have to do their due diligence to find out. And I don't know what the timeline is for all that, but it's a credit to them that there hasn't been a paparazzi report at this point. So maybe we're just not as locked in on the Daily Mail as, maybe somebody that would have seen that kind of report. But, that would definitely have come up through NFL feeds. Like, make no mistake, there would have been some jokes. There would have been some, not even jokes, chat, but just a tip of the cap. There would have been some salutes to Joe Burrow thrown out across the ghetto Gronks and the NFL meme page accounts. So, we definitely would have seen the news of this person seen with this person. But, yeah, for the most part, it seemed like they were keeping it pretty quiet. They were doing Doing a good job of what, chat? Of keeping it on the down low is what we were talking about. But anyways, yeah, speaking of Joe Burrow, they were playing the Browns. So, I mean, he's another one, chat. Joe Burrow is probably in a great spot. Not necessarily from an on-the-field standpoint. Again, the Bengals right now, 7-8, still kind of fighting for that playoff position. But Burrow is having an absolutely fantastic season. I mean, again, today, he was absolutely terrific. His stats, he was 23 for 30, 252, 3 touchdowns, a 134 quarterback rating. I mean, he's leading the league in yards, of course. But he is also, I mean, the completion percentage, the ratings. Like, we know this, chat. The offense for the Bengals has been fantastic. So, I mean, you know, chat, he is just going out there, playing his heart out, balling out, losing these games, and then he gets to go home and vent to this, swimsuit model, chat, about how bad the defense is. I mean, for a guy that has seen some success in the playoffs, like, this is not a bad way to have a down year. Pause. That is for sure. But yeah, leads the league, look, in yards, 36 touchdowns. So he's right behind Lamar in terms of touchdowns. Only 8 interceptions. So let's check it on the interception percentage here, chat. Let's see. Oh, we hate to see Anthony Richardson up that high. So yeah, top 10 lowest, chat, in interceptions. The completion percentage as well, too. We know Burrow is one of the more efficient quarterbacks in the league, so he's up there. 68.5%. Where's he at on rating? Third in quarterback rating right now. Lamar, going into today anyways, Lamar, Goff. And I guess with Lamar playing last night, these stats would be updated for that. So, and he was the Bengals, of course, the Baltimore, the Ravens, took care of business last night against the Steelers, and Lamar looked good in that game as well. Darnold is 4th in quarterback rating. And where's Allen? 7th? So at 103.5, he's having a good year. QBR as well, too. If that accounts for the running a little bit more, I guess we don't know exactly what goes into ESPN's QBR, but if that does account for the running a little bit more, which we assume, yeah, I mean, it has Josh Allen, Lamar, and Kyler, and Jaden Daniels as 4 of the top 5. But Burrow being 3rd in there without the scrambling that he does is super impressive. And I think PFF still has him as like a top 3 guy. Let's check it off here and see where they had him rated at. And again, Chase has been the best receiver, or, a top receiver in the league. Best receiver in terms of receiving yards is what we meant to say for a majority of the year here, chat. But as a losing record, I mean, who is he complaining about the most? Number 2 right now, chat. Passer grade of 98.8. So number 2 passer in the league. Number 2 overall quarterback. Of course, Burrow. Known for being a great quarterback. But if you get to still be in the playoff mix and play well and complain that your team is doing great. And he just got the bag. I mean, she's getting in the mix at the right time as well, too. Right after Burrow got the massive contract extension. Which, did we see some news about Spoelstra? Maybe this is old news, chat, but about how Spoelstra, when they signed, they didn't give him the extension until after the divorce was finalized. So, Pat Riley looking out for the boys, chat. Yikes. But, I mean, you see a guy like Burrow get that kind of money. And I'm sure, again, Burrow's a good-looking guy. Burrow's a quality human being. Just talented at his craft in general. So even if Burrow is making $5 an hour, Burrow is still an attractive dude to end up with. Make no mistake, Burrow is still going to have no problems. But Burrow at $300 million is crazy. What is the actual number he ended up getting? Chat. I was going to say it was like 230 something, but these NFL guys getting like $400 million on a contract. It's like, okay, well, maybe the NBA guys I need to give them a little more respect. Or NFL guys. Maybe their dollar's a little bit higher. But let's see. Cap hit 29 mil. Cash total 65 million this year in cash. 154 million in dead cap. So not that Burrow was going anywhere anyways this year, but yeah, these first 3 years on the contract, he's a bit of a financial burden for the team. In terms of if there was just something that dramatically went wrong and they felt like they needed to release him. But I mean, I guess I'm sure there's like a morality clause or something in here, but yeah, you see a guy at 5 years, 275, and he's probably going to be spotted with a couple of models, chat. $55 million a year. There's going to be a couple people in the DMs. You're going to be walking around at Fashion Week with a little bit of a, I mean, you're already in designer, but now your designer is even nicer, chat. I don't even know what the next level of designer is. Like, you know, is there something nicer than Fendi? Like, what's the next thing up, chat? From the thing that all of, like, these low-key rappers about when they're like, oh, yeah, Gucci, Fendi, Dolce & Gabbana. Like, what is the next step up that people don't even brag about it? They just wear it and go, yeah, I dropped the bag on it. I make $55 million a year. It's just what it is. Like, that's the kind of level Burrow is going to be at. And he's like, yeah, this shoulder bag fanny pack, you don't even know what brand it is. You want to know what brand it is? I got more of them at the crib, assuming the burglar didn't take them all. Why don't you come see what pause? Why don't you stop by and see what's going on, chat? You know, I think Burrow's probably spitting a little better game than the fanny pack game, but you know, it does seem like fanny packs and the shoulder bags a common designer product, chat. You see quite a few of them. So, you know, as a easy talking point, I'm sure somebody would be wearing one. I'm sure you could mention it. Oh, the Patriots forcing a fumble on James Cook. But anyways, yeah, and the Browns, I guess, just wanted to make sure that they just were completely unwatchable, because I think a lot of times, chat, you know that we are in favor of going with a younger guy, even if the younger guy is not that type of younger guy. Like, if it's not an Anthony Richardson, Joe Flacco situation, you go, okay, yeah, I get what Richardson is struggling with, but the upside that could be there and what you've invested, like, you need to just see, so play him. But, you know, even if it's like a Trey Lance, Cooper Rush situation, like, you know, if you're playing Trey Lance, I go, okay, I get it, you know. He was a third overall pick who maybe was, you know, still a top 10 type draft prospect, top 15. I mean, you know, be harsh, chat. He was still a first round guy in the mix and still at one point viewed as a talented prospect. Maybe you wanted to see what you have with that type of guy that, you know, you didn't invest a lot in, you were able to get for cheap. So maybe it goes the other way. You get a good deal in that type of investment, or you're able to, you know, get a bigger return on investment with a trade if he performs well in those couple of games. But this was one situation, Chad, where I was like, you don't need to play the young guy. And I actually like Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Like, I had stock in him out of the draft. He would have been a guy, if I was a team, I would have looked at in the middle of the rounds for sure to bring in and see what you have. But if I'm biased toward Dorian Thompson-Robinson, if I'm biased toward DTR, chat, I'm probably just slightly a little bit more biased toward Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston had the buy-in from the NFL fans. Jameis Winston might have been the most beloved player in the NFL. Like, was there a person that hated Jameis Winston? And it was such a good look for the team as well after having Deshaun Watson there. And, you know, chat, like, I mean, make no mistake, we'll make the jokes, we'll roast him for what he did. But in real life, we'll also, you know, we're down to give guys second chances and forgiveness. Like, you know, it still is what it is, chat. Like, we'll see both sides of a potential storyline like that. So, you know, if Deshaun Watson is reformed and living a different lifestyle, like, all credit to him, but he still is in close enough time range to those events that the stench of it is still going to be held over him for a while. So if he's out there, it's just going to be what you're thinking about. And the fact that they can move away from that and bring in Jameis, and it just turns out that Jameis is just like the absolutely most wholesome dude in the league. And, you know, the prayers and the quotes and all this stuff. And, you know, still, you know, Jameis, it's, and we're not trying to make fun of him as well, too. Like, we get the man throws picks, but the man can run an offense. Like, the man moves the ball. The chaotic energy that forces turnovers also makes a good play every now and then. And, the man had Jerry Jeudy cooking. Jerry Jeudy was having the best season of his career. I think he was top 5 in receiving yards, chat. There would be at least once or twice a game where he was finding Jeudy over the middle of the field, and a lot of times making a mistake. Jeudy was wide open. It's like, yeah, you better hit him there. But he gets the guy wide open, Jeudy for the big play. Yeah, Jeudy was 5th in receiving yards. 4 touchdowns, 1,000 receiving yards. So I don't remember exactly when Jameis Winston entered in for the Browns. Here, let's take a look here, chat. Let's see what Winston. How do you spell it? Oh, yeah. I-E-S. Okay. No C in Winston. I before E. Except for the C. Jameis L. Winston. We don't even get a middle name. Just an initial. That feels right for a revolutionary like Winston. So we get 10-27 to 12-15 for our boy Jameis. So let's see what Jerry Jeudy did in that stretch here. Assuming it operates with us and loads quickly, which hopefully, chat. Shout out to the Christmas season. Shout out to the mom. Shout out to the family. Hopefully that will be improving. But let's see here, chat. Going into this week, the last, 7 games? Look at some of these numbers, chat. 142, 235, 108. And then even the ones that you would go, oh, those are weak compared to the other ones. 79, 73, 85, 64. Like, those are decent performances and that's a consistency that maybe Jeudy wasn't giving. Just look at this as well, too, the couple weeks before. 16, 35, 18. Targets low as well. But, chat, when Jameis Winston was in the game for the Browns, Jerry Jeudy was on pace for 2,000 yards. The man was at least putting up some numbers. Jameis was moving the offense. He makes people feel good. He makes you a watchable team. So, yeah, you might be bad, but what is the point of being bad with a young quarterback that, with all due respect, we've kind of already seen? We know it. I think we kind of know what that product is going to be. And if you think you have something there, he's in the building, maybe the off season and the preseason next year. Maybe that's the time to prove it. Maybe week 18 is the week to prove it, Give him the last week. But make no mistake, chat, I want to see Jameis for as many weeks as possible. I love watching Jameis Winston, and the fact that we get to see him now. Oh, Drake May with the risky pass. Is that a fumble? Is that a touchdown? Oh, the Bills. Defense making a big play on the goal line. Drake May with the backwards pass to the running back. And for now, it's called a touchdown. The ball got batted back into the end zone, and it looks like the Bills, as of right now, have a 10-point lead on the Patriots. Was that a forward pass? Oh, I don't know, Chad. I don't think it was. We need a little bit more of a sideline angle, I think. Where was the quarterback standing? What yard line? Where was the running back? Let's see here, Chad. I think that's a backwards pass. Yikes. Maybe that's more on Ramondre for not corralling that one, but maybe that's on the play calling. But still, the swing to the running back going backwards, that close to the red zone, chat, that close to the other team's end zone, is probably not the play that you want to run. Because that just feels like anything to the sidelines that close to the end zone always feels like it could go wrong, especially with a young quarterback. And I get that's not going to the sidelines, but that's sort of swing it out. Oh, and the Niners go down with an injury, chat. So we can't forget about the games that are in action, of course. But like we were saying, look at this. Jameis Winston had Jerry Jeudy cooking. Is there a redeeming factor? Let's see. Can we get some grades, chat? What did they grade Jameis Winston's season as? I would assume it was decent. 70s? Is he an above average quarterback? Can we get a light green color on Jameis Winston? Oh, yeah, 73.8, 23rd, chat. Jameis Winston's literally fine. I don't know what they were doing. Was Jameis Winston hurt? Am I an idiot, chat? Oh, I am an idiot because I can't spell his name. But am I an extra idiot for not knowing if he was hurt? Jameis Winston inactive. They inactivated him, chat. Oh, man. Open full participant in practice, but the right shoulder injury. Oh, okay. So was it a shoulder injury? So if anything, this is just, even if the Browns didn't bench him, it all still stands. It's an ode to Jameis for the season that he's having so far with Cleveland. Announced Wednesday that Jameis' 7-game run in the depth chart coming to end with it's proceeded over the weekend, but the right shoulder resulted a little bit. Oh, right shoulder injury. The injury doesn't appear to be too significant. The Browns won't ask Jameis to push through the injury while the team already had another quarterback. Bailey Zappi. We could have saw Bailey Zappi today. Again, I like DTR, but Zappi's not bad either. Zappi will serve as a backup. But Winston can move to number 2 if the shoulder improves to next week. You got to play Winston, man. You got to ask him to push through. Winston actually might be top 10 most entertaining QBs in the league. Like, that's not even a joke. Like, should we go through the list, chat? Let's see who else would you just rather watch play quarterback for a game. Because there are obviously quarterbacks that you would rather have. There are quarterbacks that are going to be more clutch at the end of games. But, you know, would you rather watch Winston or would you rather watch Purdy, chat? Just for the game, for the entertainment value. Okay, of course we're going to watch Allen. Of course we're going to watch Lamar. I mean, would you rather watch Goff or would you rather watch Winston? Now, I think I'd rather watch Goff in this Lions offense because when Goff is running this offense, of course, we're seeing one of the better offenses in the league, and one of the better, more efficient offenses in, you know, kind of the recent run as well, too. Maybe, you know, mini decade here as we're kind of halfway mark next year. Excuse me for the decade. But just the individual player themselves. Is Winston more entertaining than Jared Goff? That's a close one. I mean, we'll give Goff the nod because he's Goff. We have to obviously say Mahomes as well, too, because I think Mahomes has been cooking down the stretch a little bit. Mahomes has been playing well. But, I mean, Daniels, chat. I mean, Daniels has been in some dramatic games this year. He can push the ball down the field. But I'd much rather watch Winston this year than Stroud. And Stroud, I mean, yeah, the numbers for Stroud this year aren't good. The QB rating is low. He is at 11 interceptions. Cousins was 16, man, brutal. But Stroud at 11 is definitely not what we thought we would have seen with the efficiency that he had for last year. The completion percentage is down. I mean, he's almost his completion, his rating, I guess, is the same as Bo Nix. But some of these raw numbers here, chat. I mean, Bo Nix is maybe a little uptick as well. I guess, you know, Stroud a couple more touchdowns, a couple more yards, but the rookie to second year thing, I guess Bo Nix is still older than Stroud though, so maybe we should give Bo Nix the benefit of the doubt. Oh, Jefferson with a clutch touchdown. 3 minutes left. They go back up by 3 if they make the field goal here. Wow, we should pay attention, chat. These late games are starting to cook. And I guess the Winston rating was not at all that good. 29th out of 34th. Oh, man. Should we just cut Richardson out here? Yeah, let's just pretend that that part of the rating doesn't exist. But all of these guys that you go, okay, yeah, sure, I'd rather take Bo Nix. I'd rather take Trevor Lawrence maybe. You know, Kyler, Stafford. I do like watching Stafford. Baker is pretty entertaining. But Hurts, chat, would you rather watch Hurts or would you rather watch Winston? Is Winston a more entertaining quarterback than Hurts? Hurts might be the most boring good quarterback in the league. Hurts is up next for Celebrity Girlfriend. I guess, does Hurts have a girlfriend? Pause. Hey, yo, cut that out. Hurts, if you're a happy man, we're not saying pivot, but we're saying that if he is single, he is going to be next up, maybe after this playoff run especially. We'll see what happens, though, chat. Concussed today, so the loss is not necessarily, of course, on him. But get Jameis Winston back in the mix as soon as possible. We love to see Jameis. I hope Jameis Winston is the backup on the Colts next year. / if they have to get a different starter. If we have to go veteran starter, bring in Jameis Winston. I don't know who else we're going to get because it's not going to be Kirk Cousins. The one quarterback that you were like, maybe we could get this guy the last couple of years has been Kirk Cousins. You could probably trade 2% a little bit more in a trade than maybe you'd want. Like, oh, could we give them a 7th here when they thought that maybe they wouldn't get the extra pick? And like, oh, yeah, I guess we'll trade you Kirk Cousins for that and get off the money. Or you could just pay him in free agency. But Cousins was always the guy that you could just – he felt like the most available kind of quarterback that was out there. But, Sam Darnold will be on the market. I guess Purdy. But those feel like a little bit more of commitments. And the Colts, while I'm just not wanting to go back into the cycle of the 1 year, the 2 year, the short veteran guy, the let's see in the short term if we're able to get some magic and get a run and just, figure it out next year at the quarterback position. Like, I'm just not in favor of that. I like getting the younger guy, trying to develop around him, or, if you're really going to go out and get a veteran, you have to know who you're getting. Like, Purdy might be an interesting one, and maybe that'll be something to talk about as we get a little bit closer to the offseason, with especially the Niners now being officially eliminated from the playoffs. But, is Stafford going to be available, chat? Like Rodgers, you're not going to go out and get Rodgers. Russell Wilson, maybe? As like a stopgap quarterbacks? Like, who are the stopgap quarterbacks for next year? And I hate that we're looking at this. I hate that it's even in my mind because, like we're saying, Richardson won the job at the end of the year, and Richardson is probably going to be the guy in the offseason and the planned 2025 starter, unless something just really falls in their lap that they feel is a big upgrade. But like I'm saying, they're going to need some guy in the second. What are they cheering about, chat? Oh, I think I'm getting my audio feeds mixed up to what I'm watching. Okay, I was like, the audio is not matching. It's like they're cheering, but that was an incomplete pass. So wasn't really lining up. But we're going to need some guy in there if things go south, if we need to turn to a veteran presence. And I really hope that veteran presence is Jameis Winston next year. I really hope that Jameis Winston is in the horseshoe uniform. It's all I want, chat. Jameis in 25, Arch Manning in 26, and that feels like a realistic possibility. Now, Anthony Richardson, shout out. We're all in. You got the win today. And like we're saying, you still get these wins. We'll still be 500. So if the offseason is crazy for Richardson, and he just really locks in, man, and takes like the biggest leap we've ever seen from a quarterback prospect ever. Because, I think in this year, he gets a little bit of grace for the shortened season to last year where we go, well, is this technically his first full year? Like, last year he only played the 4 games, whatever. Is he still kind of figuring things out as like a pseudo rookie right now? But that excuse only lasts so long. Like, you get into your second year or your third year, which should be your second. We don't go, well, like, oh, well, is he technically a sophomore? Like, is he technically a junior? And when it's his 4th year, like, that kind of only works. It really only works for like half the season as well, too. It's like, this is the early part of the season. You didn't get that career that first year to really get your groove. So next, like year 3, he kind of needs to be closer to a year 3. Like if he walks out of year 2 closer to a year 1 level, that's fine because of how short year 1 was. But year 3, he needs to walk out closer to a year 3 level more so than a year 2 level. And if it's just not happening and they need to go to a veteran, I hope it's Jameis. Ballard, make it Jameis Winston. Colts culture. He's a family man. He fits right in. Carson Wentz, I think, was a family man. Is Goff? I think Goff is... Goff? I'm not sure who's Goff's girlfriend. And the thing is, now or wife or whatever, you get into, again, like some of these, maybe there's like a show as well. Like, I don't know how many shows exist in terms of basketball, football, sports wives. Like, I don't know what kind of content is out there for it. And I guess it's not even the shows on the streamers at this point. You know, the amount of vlogs as well, too, where a lot of these people, like we're saying, are kind of building these names and brands for themselves. A lot of them do turn to the creator route. And I guess, like we were saying, you know, Yuschek, Mrs. Yuschek, I forget what her first name is. Shout out. Is it like Kylie or something like that? I guess that's the Kels. We don't want to start throwing out names and getting people confused. But, you know, shout out Mrs. Yuschek. You know, she's creating the jackets. But a lot of them go into, like, the content creating as well, too. The vlogs. I know Michael Pittman and his lady are taking that lane. So they can kind of build a celebrity in their own way now, capitalizing on sort of their vantage point of how, you know, their day to day, and they can kind of build a brand based on that. But, yeah, shout out Jameis, shout out the Bengals for a clutch win. Okay, let's see. What else did we have on here? Actually, I was going to do it, and then I wasn't, and then I think I'm paused, chat. We're going to take just a mini timeout, chat. I got to delayer. You can tell this is a fuzzy hoodie. This is a crazy, comfortable hoodie, and it's perfect for the winter season. But we get worked up NFL Week 16, so we're going to have to take some layers off. It's not going to be the hoodie, chat. It's going to have to be the shirts underneath. This hoodie is too clutch. We'll be right back. Okay, Chad. I know we had the dumbbells out earlier, but we're not quite ready to go shirtless on the pod yet in full confidence. Maybe 2025, the new year, New Year's resolution. Maybe that'll be the goal. Be shirtless on the pod at the end of next year in full confidence. Chad, we'll see what happens. Subscribe and stay tuned to see if we get some partial nudity on the Rem and Sam pod. Do we do a little contest? Do we do a little Mr. Rem and Sam, Mr. Universe? We were talking about Miss America, Miss Alabama earlier. Do we do a Rem and Sam? A Rem and Sam voguing competition is crazy, but we'd have to get more. No, maybe getting more people involved wouldn't be a good idea. Maybe just a solo individual goal chat is the way to approach the year. I think working on yourself is always the best way. Always the best way to go. So I think for the fitness standpoint, that'll be the commitment. But Sam does have the wedding as well too, so we gotta keep in his ear. Actually, you know what? New Year's resolution early will be to get Sam in the gym for the wedding as well too. We want to see some jacked paws from Sam. Just some James Bond Sam in a suit. You know, look. I mean, not that the man, of course, wouldn't look good if you threw him in a suit 5 minutes ago. But you know, we like to. We know that the potential for greatness, of course, it's within everybody, chat. But wedding season, I think it's the time to try to unleash it. So, you know, we've got our own motivations for that, I guess, as well too. But Sam, the groom, you know, he will be shining on center stage. So I guess we wanted to see those biceps shining as well too, Jay. Oh, okay, it's gonna sound like we're gonna be protesting, but we'll be there. We'll be there celebrating. Okay, football chat. Moving on. Should we keep talking about bad teams? I guess the pink hoodie's not gonna help us make our case. Should we keep talking about this football chat? Should we talk about the Carolina Panthers? The Carolina Panthers are who's the guy we're thinking of? Patrick Warburg? Is that the right guy? Do we just have IT put in a Patrick Warburg voice from now on, so at least the people listening get the right idea after after those wedding comments, seeing that we want to see Sam ripped for their wedding. But speaking of Panthers versus the Cardinals, that might actually be the one. Is that at least a 6 out of 10, chat, on the impression scale? When you can't do impressions, a 6 out of 10, you'll take it. The Panthers, however, might be are they the happiest 4-11 team in the league? Maybe the happiest 4-11 team in NFL history, chat. And they finally get an overtime win as well, too. I know, was it Tampa? I think it may have been Tampa or Philly. They had that overtime game a couple weeks ago where I think it was Tampa. Yeah, chat. Bryce Young had the game-winning drive. And then I think, was it the Philly game that he had the pass to Legit that went off the fingertips that could have been a potential game-winning touchdown? And maybe they lost that game on that one. But again, they've had a couple of positions where Bryce Young is at the end of a game, gotten him down for a score, gotten him down for whatever. And again, in overtime, that one kind of sucked. You know, I think they had the ball first as well, too. So they had a chance to score. They punted back. Did the Bucs just end up winning that on the field goal? So, I mean, Gannon risked it all in this one. He walked over to the table where Dan Campbell was sitting and just threw his nuts out on the table as well, too, and said, you go for it on 4th down this year, buddy? I go for it on 4th down as well, too. You haven't gone for 4th down in overtime on like your own 20-yard line facing playoff elimination, where if we turn this over and don't get it, a field goal wins the game. Like, I don't know if you've ever gone for 4th down in that situation. So I guess, and they got the 1st down at least on that one. So I don't know if Gannon proved a little something there, but was it a penalty or something that killed the drive afterwards? And they ended up in like a 4th and 24. And then Carolina got the ball back, and Shua Hubbard couldn't be stopped today as well, too. Jonathan Taylor wins the day from a fantasy running back perspective, but Shua Hubbard has had some games, chat. The run game has been underrated for them this year, and I know they invested in Jonathan Brooks in the 2nd round, and he was their 1st or 2nd pick in the draft. Oh, and a turnover for the Seahawks. That'll seal it for the Vikings, chat. The Seahawks will move to 8-7. So does this eliminate them from they're not going to be eliminated from the playoffs at 8-7, but maybe we'll get a playoff picture update before we take off tonight. We'll see. Because, like I was saying, there were some teams that were eliminated. The Niners are out now. RIP the Cowboys, chat. We can finally put them to bed. But this is going to suck for the Seahawks as well. And I guess with the Rams, one of those two teams, like, they're still fighting for the first spot. The Rams aren't like running away with the division at this point. But the Cardinals, I guess, also did get eliminated too, so it'll be down to one of those two teams. But Metcalf and Geno not on the same page. Yikes, chat. Tough. And I think the Bills up 10 is going to be a tough spot for Drake May to overcome. But yeah, I guess he had 153 as well, too, earlier this year against New York in overtime. In that win. Was that their last win, chat? Yeah, a 5-game losing streak is kind of tough for 4-game losing streak is tough for Carolina after having this little mini, you win the back-to-back games. You feel Bryce Young, I think, was kind of decent in this Denver game as well, too. Was he in this Denver game, chat? And then he was good in the Kansas City game, and you were like, okay, good in the Kansas City game, takes you to overtime to Tampa. And then you get the Philly loss. So, yeah, and then that Dallas loss, you're like, oh, maybe we're just back to normal with Bryce Young. But, again, it's not like he was masterful today. It's not like he's been masterful in all these games. That's not a diss, but back to producing, back to getting wins is exactly what you'll take. So, record not too good as well is totally fine. But maybe they're an interesting... What would a running back upgrade do for this team? Like bringing in Saquon, and maybe they need a receiver because maybe A.J. Brown is more important for the Eagles than Saquon is. But Hubbard has played really well this year. Hubbard's had some big games. Maybe the Giants' defense is not the best, but 92 against Philly and a tutty. 107 scrimmage yards in that game. Balling out at the beginning of the season as well, too. So let's see who Carolina has left on the schedule. Is this the last win of the Panthers season? Because the Cardinals, again, you beat a good team. You beat a 500 team. Maybe this is a good place to get your last win. If this is your last win, Panthers, is that okay? Are you feeling good at 4 wins this year? So they go Tampa, Atlanta. So maybe knowing that they could hang with Tampa a little bit, they feel like that they could get revenge there. It's going to be at Tampa, though. So these last 2 are on the road. So winning the last home game of the year, good for them, chat. Bryce Young, one last time in front of the fans? No, he'll be back. He should be back. Unless the Quinn Ewers draft stock just totally rises again over the playoffs. Because make no mistake, chat, the 12-team playoff sucks. None of these teams deserve to be in it. Or they just totally picked the wrong teams this year. I don't know what happened. But the games were terrible. They moved to 7th. So they're going to miss out on Mason Graham. They've been mocked Mason Graham a lot here on Tankathon. So now it's Abdul Carter. But let's see where they had Ewers. Is it into the 2nd round, chat? Did I miss him? Must have missed him. Maybe he's higher? Quinn Ewers, undraftable? Off the board, chat? Yeah, he wasn't in the 1st round. Am I crazy? 64? Quinn Ewers now in the top 64? Xavier Watts, shout out. Oh, almost falling to the Spurs, chat. That's tough. Can we trade up? Get Xavier Watts? Okay. Something's not right here, chat. I feel like for some reason, this always happens when I go to Tankathon. The name never registers. And then I have to look him up on the big board. Where is this? 48th on the big board, chat. Where do they have him mocked to? Pittsburgh at 58. So, yeah, he was at the end of the 2nd round there. But the end of the 2nd round for Quinn Ewers is crazy. And Jalen Milroe still above him on Tankathon. Still at 35 to Cleveland as well. But what did Ewers end up doing last night? Pause. In the game, chat, statistically. What did he do in the game is what we meant against Clemson. Let's see here. 17 of 24 for 202, a touchdown and an interception. So, yeah, he was okay. Yeah, Blue was fantastic in that game. They were running a lot in that game. We were moving around a little bit there in that one. So we watched a lot of the Ohio State one and a lot of the SMU game. And we watched a lot of the USC UConn game that was on as well. And I'm trying to remember exactly when that was on. I feel like, was that directly across from, I think that might have been directly across from Ohio State, Tennessee. I couldn't remember. All the playoff games were bad, so it was like tune out. And Clemson did end up making a little bit of a comeback here and made it interesting near the end. But make no mistake, the game of the night was UConn USC, Juju Watkins versus Paige Beckers. And I know, shout out to Allie. We've had her on in the past, and she has been sort of the lead. Juju Watkins is always at the top of the list for everything, chat. Make no mistake with her talent. But, you know, she was kind of like, nah, Juju Watkins is the one of the bunch of, like, all this influx we're seeing here of, you know, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers. You know, I don't want to leave anybody out, chat. Cameron Brink, who do we follow on Instagram, chat? Like, you know, the rising young WNBA stars that we're seeing, she's like, yeah, Juju Watkins is, and the ones that we will see, like, as we enter the league here over the next couple of years, like, Juju Watkins is the one, and her playmaking was really fantastic in that last game as well. But Beckers had a couple of possessions where in the second half she got matched up on her. There was one drive where she got a foul call where it seemed a little ticky-tacky, but it was like, okay, yeah, Beckers can stay in front here. The defense is holding up in a really solid way. So I think Juju Watkins is 2 years from now, and Beckers is next year. Is that the Valkyrie, chat? Does this tell us? Golden State. Oh, no, so Golden State gets the 5th pick. Okay. Where does Toronto? I mean, look at the pink and black, or the purple and black, chat. Clean. Wait. Who were we looking for? Toronto was the other team. Where is Toronto? That's kind of crazy, chat. I don't know. Do you put them in the lottery and just give them the same odds as Washington, or maybe make up some odds that are, you know, divide this up and then give them like a fixed amount and then divide the other amongst the other 4? You know, but do you have to work them in the lottery somehow? I guess they haven't put Toronto in here yet, but in the mock chat, Sonia Citron out of Notre Dame over Anicia Morrow. Oh, tough. But yeah, Beckers, of course, to Dallas, chat. And is this set in stone? Is the 2025 WNBA draft set in stone? Is Paige Beckers definitely going to Dallas? Yeah, they did have the mock. Okay, yeah. Wow, shout out, chat. Oh, I guess we opened that in the wrong tab. Yeah, but anyways, the one tab we just opened confirmed it and said that the lottery has taken place. So yeah, Golden State is gonna get the 5th pick. And where's the Aces at in the mix? Who are we thinking, chat, for the Aces? Oh, the Mystic have the... Oh, that's the Dreams 1st round pick. Oh, forfeited. Oh, that's right, chat. Yikes. We don't talk about that. So I guess we have to look in the 2nd round. Oh, hey, Haley Van Lith. Sign me up. I'll get a jersey. That'll be a fat order. The Kelsey Plum, Asia Wilson, Van Lith jersey order. We'll be dropping the big bucks. Black Friday 2025. Lock it in. WWNBA shop. But that could be pretty exciting. A little ball handling in the backcourt. Pause! That's crazy. But yeah, I guess Paige Beckers in for 2025. And then I think, like we were saying, Watkins is 27 because she was a freshman last year. So I could be wrong, but at least 2026 at the earliest. And Mac Jones is, unfortunately, does not raise the entertainment value of the Jags. Jameis raising the entertainment value of the Browns is not what is happening for Mac Jones in Jacksonville. Check down city. I mean, the amount of smack talk has gone through the roof. I guess I don't know if he's been doing it today, chat, but game-winning drive here from Mac Jones to go to 4-11. Speaking of the draft, though, do you even want to win this game? Mac Jones, throw a pick. The Raiders are 2-12. What are the Raiders doing? Why are the Raiders trying to win this one? Do they think the Giants are just going to lock that in? Are they giving? Do they just assume Shador is already going to the Giants? Do the Raiders want Cam Ward? Is that the play, chat? Maybe the Raiders want Travis Hunter. Huh. I feel like who would Mark Davis had drafted, chat? Should we ask Chat GPT? Should we ask AI? Who would Mark Davis or Al Davis? Who would Al Davis have drafted in 22? Oh, Purdy. Yikes. Not going to get paid with that kind of interception. Right into the middle of the field. Down 5 with a minute 50. And Kohu, who, I mean, is never on his man and was not on his man when he got the pick. You got to throw it to Kohu. Kohu is not going to get a pick because he was smothering a guy with defense. Pause. It's because it was an overthrow or it was miscommunication. Something didn't go right. Oh, yeah, just didn't see him, chat. Kohu's sinking back in the zone underneath, and Purdy trying to hit, who was that? Jennings over the middle of the field. So here we go. Drake May, 2nd and goal for a touchdown. They could make it within 3 here. And I didn't see their timeout situation. Oh, this is going to be a play ahead. They have all 3 timeouts. So they could get the ball back if they just kicked off. If they got to stop and just kicked off. It could happen. The Niners have all 3 timeouts as well. So make no mistake. With Tua, they're going to get the ball back. And they'll have, you know, a handful of seconds to try to make a miracle happen. But what are you doing if you are the Raiders? You want Shedeur Sanders. I think I don't know. Shedeur Sanders is a guy to me. Shedeur Sanders is if you bring him in, maybe he's a little like Drake May, where maybe he's not going to like elevate this talent in year 1 to be a 7-8 win team, but there are going to be drives. There's going to be games. You're going to be competitive. He's going to play well. He's going to put a lot good on tape. And I think they're in a similar prospect kind of range. And I could see similar year 1 production from both of those guys. But their remaining schedule is Indy, chat. Chalk that up as a loss. Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor, and then against Philly. So maybe that's what the Raiders are looking at. The Giants with those last 2 games, thinking they are just going to go ahead and lose both of those. And they are playing the New Orleans Saints and the Los Angeles Chargers after this week as well. So, I mean, definitely, I mean, the Saints is a little bit more of a winnable game. Sorry for the stutter there, Chad. The Saints is a little bit more of a winnable game. The Chargers, I think they're going to lose that one. And getting that nice little 73 in there from the Jets is not bad either. So I guess they kind of look at the rest of it and go, at least we're number 2. But still, yeah, Tennessee at 3-12 and Cleveland at 3-12 and New England. And the Raiders are going to beat Jacksonville. So the Raiders will have the tiebreaker over the Jags. And then they'll have to at least, I guess, does it just go to strength of schedule right away in the win percentage? Or does it go to the tiebreaker? Does it go to head-to-head first? I think head-to-head is the first tiebreaker, right, chat? Does this have tiebreakers on it? Let's see. What does this... Oh, no, this doesn't give us the tiebreakers like we want. I just want an easy answer, chat. Oh, and A-Champ puts the game away for the Dolphins. Shout out. So we were wrong. They didn't have to rely on Tua running the ball. They were able to take care of everything. But I think head-to-head is the first tiebreaker. Pause. Are we satisfied with this feed? No, shout out. We lost an actor. Why would we be satisfied with that? Come on, load. We don't want to see the news anymore. Please, load. Can we click off and just hope it lets... Okay, we'll look it up over here. Oh, Tankathon is slowing us down. Tankathon, we're your number 1 fans. Why are you working against us? Okay, let's see here. What is the tiebreaker scenarios? Yeah, head-to-head is the first one. If applicable, if you win, you get the worst draft pick. But then if you didn't play, it would go to best win-loss tied percentage in common games. So, yeah, the strength of schedule percentage. And then strength of victory in all games, combined ranking among all teams in points scored and points allowed in all games. Best net points in all games, best net touchdowns in all games, and then it goes to a coin toss. After all those stats, if somehow you're tied, then you would go to that coin toss that we saw like in the NBA draft that one time. But, I mean, the Raiders would just be giving up their spot to the Jags, so I guess maybe they're assuming that the Jags don't need a quarterback. But still, I mean, again, you're giving up the trade possibilities as well. So touchdown for the Pats. Unless Mayo does something stupid like go for 2, they'll hopefully make the extra point here, go down 3. And then we'll see, will they announce the onside kick? But their strength of schedule is, I mean, kind of decent as well, too. Yeah, I mean, their division is good. You've got potentially 3 other playoff teams out of that division. The AFC South sucks. Cleveland at least has the Bengals to go up against. And the Patriots have the Jets. And the Jags are also in the AFC. I mean, the AFC South literally has 2 of the top teams here. So Tennessee's going to need a quarterback. I mean, Tennessee might have leaped the Raiders after this game. Tennessee! They're going to get Cam Ward. I mean, the Raiders must not want a quarterback. I don't know if this is some early planning or whatever. Or Antonio Pierce just screwing up Mark Davis. You know, classic end-of-season FU acting by these teams that we see, especially with messing with some of these draft positions. But, pause. But still, chat. Maybe Antonio Pierce is like, they want to keep me around to develop a young quarterback. Maybe he's not thinking that at all. Or maybe they do just want Travis Hunter. Because Travis Hunter as a Raider would be pretty fun. And then you go into next year's class. See what we could get if nobody really likes this one. But New England's got their guy. Let's just say Jacksonville has their guy. I guess, is this updated, though, after today? Like, after, is Jacksonville 3-11 right now? Let's double check that, chat. Have they put the win on here yet? Oh, yeah, I guess, duh, chat. The Jags are playing the Raiders right now. Okay, we're not thinking clearly. But, like, the Titans are 3-12. Yeah. So I'm assuming that this strength of schedule ranking is updated here. So the Raiders will go down a little bit because the Jags are not very good. But will it drop below this here? And will it drop below Cleveland's? So they could potentially, I mean, because they're 2. So, I mean, New England would move up over. Or is it the opposite way, Chad? No. Never mind. Because it's head-to-head. But you could potentially have New England moving up. So they could potentially just flip with the Jags and go down to 6. So they might even lose out with, I mean, if you want Travis Hunter, just stay at the top of the draft. Don't assume that all these guys are going to take quarterbacks in a quarterback week class. Be in position to take the best player at the top of the draft. Control your own destiny. What are these teams doing, chat? The Raiders should be lateraling the ball to the Jaguars right now. Of course, it would be illegal. You would get investigated. We fined. We get all that. Okay, the onside kick didn't work. 1:11 left. All three timeouts. What will the Patriots do? Do they even have time to do anything? But this is a real screw job by the Raiders. This is tough. You hate to see it. The game goes final. How quickly can Tankathon update? The game literally just went final. Boom! Tankathon is on it. So they dropped to 5. Look at that. Tennessee and Cleveland both jump over them. So New England, I mean, they'll probably leap them too if New England loses. So they'll be at 6. They've lost out on all the dudes. I mean, except for Mason Graham. Their only hope is Mason Graham. Oh, look at this. And this has changed the draft a little bit. Mason Grant back to Carolina. Shout out. But Abdul Carter now up to 3 in Tennessee. That's lethal, chat. Cam Ward in Cleveland. So both of these teams need a quarterback. We know they need a quarterback. And Travis Hunter to Jacksonville would be insane to pair up with Trevor Lawrence. So you kind of, by being out of the top 5, lose out on all of that, I think, franchise potential. And that's, the draft is, anybody can emerge, chat. And like we say, we never want to put the limit on any. The ceiling is the roof at the REMINGTOM pod. Any player has the potential to be great. But just in terms of that peace of mind as a GM and getting those players that are, I think maybe, of course, there is something when there's sort of like a unanimous declaration of this guy's just an awesome player at his position and an awesome player at football. And the chance to get a quarterback or the chance to get that, I guess maybe the name value as well, too, is what we're saying, chat. Like the chance to right away get an impact branding guy if you're the Raiders, which is, I think, another thing for that type of franchise, is an important thing by being in this top 4 here with these quarterbacks and with Travis Hunter and really the top 3. But kind of surprised that Tennessee is passing on Cam Ward in this mock as well. But McMillan at 5 is a great pick. I love McMillan. So I guess from a football standpoint at the end of the day, I guess losing out on Shador is the big thing. But if they were at number 2 anyways, and you're going to lose out on Shador, Travis Hunter still sucks. But losing out on Travis Hunter still sucks. Don't clip that the wrong way, chat. Yikes. We don't want to get misquoted as REMINGTOM Pod is out on Travis Hunter. They say he sucks to football. But REMINGTOM Pod say the Heisman Trophy winner sucks. No, we say it sucks to lose out on Travis Hunter in the draft. But McMillan is a great player, and I love McMillan as well as a prospect. We're fond of we have a lot of stock in McMillan as a prospect. Our New Year's resolution, not to be so emotional with the terms for the guys. But a couple of linemen in the mix as well. Williams and Walker, the Georgia guys are nice. Jeanty, do they take Jeanty at 5? See, obviously you wouldn't take Jeanty at 7. You wouldn't pull the Bijan this year. But if the Panthers just had Jeanty on their team, I guess what would Jeanty do for any team? But what would Bryce Young be with an elite running back, chat? Would there be hopes of Bryce Young even being better? Could that team be a wild card team? So 3rd and 1, the Patriots get the stop. They're only going to have about 9 seconds left, though, as they punt this on 4th down. So it's going to be basically a Buffalo win. I know we're setting ourselves up for a miracle by saying that, but we'll just go ahead and float it out there anyways. Scott Hansen was making us nervous earlier by doing that too with that Colts game. The Titans had stormed back down 30. They were down by 8, and they were lining up for the onside kick. Or no, the Colts were lining up for the punt to punt it back to the Titans with like 4 seconds left, and basically going to be the last play, the second last play of the game. And Scott Hansen was like, all they have to do is handle this punt correctly and everything should be okay and they should walk out of here with a win. And it's like, oh, what are you doing, brother? Don't start saying these things. The punt's going to get blocked. He's going to snap it over his head. It's going to go out of the back of the end zone and it's going to be a touchdown. Like, that just means something disastrous is going to happen. It just means there's going to be a Hail Mary on the next play. Like, don't jinx us like that. But fortunately, the punt was good. And then fortunately, the Titans also had Mason Rudolph, and he threw an interception right on the next play. He had a part in the game as well where he threw a pick to one of the Colts corners, but they called it out because the corner was out of bounds. And then just immediately on the very next play, threw it right back to that side of the field and threw a pick again to the same exact corner. So it's like, brother, what are you doing? But, I mean, we can't be mad as a Colts fan that we were having that on our team. And the Bills, in their own territory, I guess they're at their own 26-yard line, 27-yard line. They're going to take a knee on 4th and 1 with 10 seconds left. They're going to try to go for it, and Josh Allen gets it. So, yeah, I guess if you don't get it, they have to go the length of the field in 4 seconds. If you get it, the clock runs out. The game is over. And the Bills survive, but shout out Drake May. The Patriots cover It was a 14-point game, chat. And I don't know, just a December NFC or AFC East game. Josh Allen's having this incredible MVP season, and Drake May has been having this really, really impressive rookie season for the Patriots. And it just felt like maybe the clash of those two things, that something might kind of line up perfectly for something special to happen. So I didn't think, I don't know, maybe upset, but maybe we just get a moment where it's like, again, Drake May is hanging with Josh Allen here. Drake May is hanging with the best quarterback in the league at the moment. And it happened, chat. It isn't two touchdowns, 14 points. You got to jump on that. You can't let Vegas slide throwing out a free 2 touchdowns on a divisional game. Even if it is the Bills. And even if they are fantastic, and even if they are at home. And it's cold weather as well, too. You know it's going to be slow, grinded out football. It's not going to be that high-level 30-point game barrage that we've been seeing. And that was a history sort of streak that was on the line as well, too, chat. The Bills had tied the record for the most consecutive 30-point games in a row with 8, which is that's crazy. You wouldn't think of this Bills offense as the best in history. I don't even know if you think of it as the best in the league. It'd be the top of the group, but still the number one. Again, I think Detroit maybe has that banner. But the Patriots have the longest, I think, streak in NFL history of not scoring 30 points. And that goes again today. They're at 21 right now. 21 today for the game. So I think they're at 43 games in a row now without a 30-point performance on offense, which is, Mayo, come on, brother. I know, the jokes were live. We can't get too crazy with the jokes, but let's get some plays, chat. Let's drop some plays. Go to even Madden. See what Madden's running for this Patriots offense. Maybe if he looked at the Gerard Mayo playbook on Madden, he'd be like, I kind of like the stuff that's in here. We should run some of this stuff. It'd be nice. But they kept it close. Shout out. The Niners, they have no hope after being eliminated from playoffs in the early window with the result of some of those games. They couldn't stop Achane today. He was 17 for 121. A good old school Achane all over the place kind of performance. Feels like we haven't really had one of those this year. Wait, what other game was it that I wanted to mention right now? I forget. I guess it was this Niners game, and I guess I don't know if we already had mentioned this part of it or not, but again, I don't think the Niners are in a position to do something crazy. They're not in a position to initiate crazy change. I think we'll monitor what happens with the Purdy situation. I would assume both sides are reasonable and work something out and kind of understand the mutual benefit that they could have to each other. Like, I think Purdy with the Shanahan system, I think he would be willing to stay there for the right price, but I would assume it would be a lot of pieces back if San Francisco was making the choices. But you can't necessarily let these teams dictate their own destinies sometimes as well. Like, we were floating out there with the Nuggets and with the Thunder. Like, the Nuggets would never, ever trade Jokic. But the Thunder have this most insane haul that they could put together in NBA history. So if they were being proactive in calling the Nuggets and offering these things and upping the price, again, it would never, ever happen. But who is the guy that they could wear out and get? And maybe Jokic is the only guy in the league that would interest you for the pieces that you have, because, again, these are such high-quality pieces for the OKC Thunder. And maybe Giannis as well, too, of course. One of those two guys. But for the Niners, again, they might not initiate change. But if you're another team and you've seen them have a bit of a down year this year, is there a chance that you could capitalize and maybe offer them a piece or two extra for? What about Shanahan, chat? Is Shanahan a guy that you could trade for if you're a team after this season? I think the Niners are pretty set with the infrastructure that they have there. And it's an organization that's really stable and I think really believes in the moves that they've made over the past couple of years and the thought process and just the overall football philosophy that they're operating under right now, because I think Shanahan is a little bit of a unique approach to everything. I think everybody is bought in with Shanahan for the most part. And with the players, and we talked about this a little bit when DeAndre Campbell walked off the field as well, but the players sort of rallying around the team in that moment going, yeah, obviously you can't have a guy do that, but in a down season as well too, maybe the response isn't so overwhelmingly that. Maybe it is like, yeah, that's not something I would do, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Or maybe it's even like a, hey, I get it. Like, it's not all been that great here. Like, who knows what the variance of responses could be. But it was everybody in favor of, no, I mean, you got to put the team first. We're still a competitive team. We still have a lot of pride, and we're still a group of dudes. Like, everybody, I think, is like, I don't think Shanahan has lost the locker room in any way. But if you're a team and you come to him with a couple of picks, a couple of high-level draft picks, and you go, how committed are you to Kyle Shanahan? Maybe things start to look a little bit differently. And I don't know what exactly that team would be because, again, you're making a trade for a coach. You're not just hiring a coach that's on the market. You're giving up actual assets to go out and get Shanahan. So it's a team that goes, hey, we can bring him in, and his ability to enhance the roster is going to make up for our ability to not enhance the roster through these assets, if that makes sense. So I think it has to be, I mean, it could be a bad team looking to get a good coach, of course, but I think it would make a lot more sense if it was a good team, of course, looking for a good coach and looking for a bump up, or a team that is looking to set the foundation straight and has some solid pieces in place. Like, the team I was thinking about specifically was the Bears. Like, I don't know what the Bears are looking like for future picks, and I don't know exactly how many future picks you could give up in a coaching trade, but I don't know, chat. Like, I was thinking, like, is 2 firsts the most that's the most that I would ever be willing to give up for a coach? Like, that's just, you start getting into quarterback level prices, and it's just not worth it. Like, quarterback level prices, we better hope that our quarterback actually works out to be that, because our coach, it's not going to matter if it does. So, but if it was the 9th overall pick this year and your first round pick next year, assuming that Shanahan is able to elevate this team into some kind of playoff status, and maybe you're in this top 20 sort of range, top 25 sort of range, if you're feeling really lucky, if you feel like you can somehow get back on top of the NFC North over the Packers and the Vikings, the strongest division in the league. But they really need to make a move if they're going to win with this team, because again, the division is so strong as well too. So it's not that just that they have to make sure that Caleb Williams is set in the right direction. Like, they have a lot of ground to make up with the talent that is directly competing against them. And look at that, chat, 4 losses. I mean, I know they're only 2 spots away from San Francisco, but that feels like very different records. 6 and even again 2 wins, but 4-11, 6-9 feels like a big gap. But if the Niners were, I guess, could you do a coach swap? The Niners would have to be able to be like, we could replace Shanahan as well too with a guy. So would they look at like a Ben Johnson, or could they get Bobby Slow? Could they get one of the top prospects talked into this organization, knowing that Shanahan was able to have so much success there over the years? Or could a team give a coach back? I don't know, because how does that even work? Should we look that up, chat? Because I don't think you can trade a player for a coach, at least in the NBA. But Belichick got traded for a first, right? So let's see. Does this give us the league procedure? Okay. Yeah. Anyways. Let's just see what FanDuel says. Who would have thought the gambling sites now? Oh, FanDuel Research. Well, this is FanDuel IT, so we should give them their props. How many coaches have been traded? So look at the 70s, the 90s. Coaches are flying off the board. Holmgren, Parcells. I mean, look at this. It really is only good coaches that get traded. Nobody trades for, I guess, Belichick at the time, the stock rose. But Shula to the Dolphins from the Colts. Parcells from the Jets, or from the Patriots to the Jets. Holmgren from, of course, the Packers to the Seahawks. Seahawks to the Packers. Jesus, Chad. We can't read. So the last time I guess Sean Payton, traded from the Saints to the Broncos. for a first and a third. So they didn't even have to give up 2 firsts for Shanahan, and Peyton has won a Super Bowl. So could you give up a first and could you give up a second and a third for Shanahan? 2 seconds? If it was 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds and a third? Like it's 2 seconds. I mean, I think it has to be a first, chat. What did Arians traded for a 6th? Herm Edwards for a 4th. Let's go back and see. Yeah, Belichick, a 1st, a 4th, and a 5th. Okay. So it could be something like that. Seahawks trade 2nd. And Parcells was a 1st, a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 4th. Whoa. What a disappointing trade, chat. Oh, man. That is crazy. I didn't realize Bill Parcells was one of the biggest trade disappointments in NFL history. But, a Hall of Famer, so shout out. But Shula, we got a first back for Shula? Who did that end up being, I wonder? Maybe this is not the time to look this up. But it is within the league's. A league's procedure involves trading. So that just pulled from this article. The type of trade is complicated to pull off since it requires a coach being invested in their move. Their current coach team has to be open to trading a team to their rival, and prospective team has to be willing to exchange assets like draft picks in order to acquire a coach. So this doesn't say exactly, but a player has never been traded. So for a coach. So I'm guessing it's not possible if that were the case. The league's anti-tampering policy states that clubs are not permitted to exchange draft choices or cash for the release of individuals who are under contracts with another organization, but includes a provision that excludes head coaches and other high-level club employees from that from that. Okay, so you can trade your GM. I guess yeah, you can just like trade your assistant salary cap general manager. So maybe there's a couple other front office pieces that a team might need, but it's different than trading players. When teams encourage different players contracts are swapped between the clubs with one. The contract doesn't transfer to the new team. This happens, the 2 new teams agreed to compensation. Once it happens, the teams releases him in exchange for the previous. Oh, so they just flip the contracts. Okay, so that's interesting as well too. So there might not be as much of a financial requirement left behind from trading a guy like Shanahan as well. I don't know what this means, chat. The league's anti-tampering policy, clubs are not permitted to exchange draft choices or cash for the release of individuals. Oh, they can't be like, yeah, okay. They can't be like, we'll give you a first if you cut Kyle Shanahan and we can sign him. I get you. If I'm reading that correctly. I guess for a player, but I guess it could work for a coach that way. So they could just say, you'll cut, but that's basically a trade, I guess. I guess that is basically how the trade is functioning, right? With the contract. Okay, Chad, it takes a second, but we put the pieces together. We figured it out. So, yeah, they get released from the contract, signed to the new contract with the other team, and the other team gets the assets back in exchange for giving up that front office piece. And it functions, the trade just mechanically functions a little bit different, I guess, in the bylaws through these different apparati. But yeah, the Bears with Caleb Williams, if they were like, we just need to go all in and making sure Caleb Williams is as good as possible. I mean, Shanahan is gonna if Caleb Williams is bad, like Shanahan is gonna make him good. Like that's what we're talking about with Shanahan, obviously. Like maybe Caleb Williams is not the quarterback that you want, but Shanahan will at least get you a couple more wins than you thought you were gonna get. But any of these top level teams, chat. But the Saints as well too. I guess if they don't have a younger quarterback necessarily, but that just, I guess they're not really a high market team either, unfortunately. The Giants with Shador, like, is 2 seconds enough Not for Shanahan. You wouldn't give up Shanahan for 2 second-round picks. Like, Peyton and the Saints was a different thing. Like, all those coaches were a little bit different. And Shula, went on to have success. Who was the other one? Holmgren? I think Holmgren went on to have success in that trade as well, too. But Belichick, of course, that trade. I mean, it could not have worked out better, but that's not the type of trade. Shanahan is more established now than Belichick was in Cleveland at the time of his deal. Even though that's a fat deal, chat. That's a lot to get traded back. And I guess the Sean Payton, like we're saying, he was on the go. Maybe his stock was down a little bit as well. So maybe 3 seconds. You start giving up capital 3 years out for a coach. For anybody, it's really, you have to be invested. So Shanahan is one of those guys that, again, maybe is able to just sacrifice everything. But what about New England, chat? Like, could you swap a coach for a coach? I guess Mayo, you're not bringing Mayo in as the head coach if you're San Francisco. But as a DC, bring him in and demote him? That'd be a crazy move. I don't think we support that. But again, San Francisco would be they'd have to be like, yeah, the assets are good enough to replace, like, we'll be better, and then the coach on the other end will be better with these assets than whatever Shanahan was going to do with the roster that was in place / the improvements that we're able to make. So that would be an extreme version, but that would be, if I'm another team, would I be like, hey, are we willing to kind of overpay a little bit, or at least offer an overpay for Shanahan? And I guess if I'm the vultures of some of these other teams, I would be circling the Niners right now, trying to see if maybe they'd be a little bit open to that type of ordeal. I guess Indianapolis, Chris Ballard. I don't know, again, if you can trade a coach for a coach. Do we just need to search that? Shout out to Steichen. But maybe it's time, Chad. Let's see. Can you trade a coach for a coach? I guess Google just says short answer is yes, and it's just going to give us all the same stuff. So maybe we didn't totally comprehend the trades that we read from the last time. But Steichen in a pick for Shanahan? That is not a bad trade, chat. That is a good trade, because I think Steichen still has a lot of respect maybe in the league for being a good coach. He's done a pretty good job this year with the Colts, even though, again, some of the stuff that we haven't really been a fan of. But for the most part, I think he's been above average, chat. That's for certain. So I think, you're not getting a bad coach if you bring in Steichen. And you get a couple of assets. But then you go, hey, what do we do with Purdy at this point? If we're re-signing Purdy to a big number and not bringing Shanahan back, is that the smart way to approach the offseason and the quarterback position and all that? But again, if I'm a vulture, I'm at least swirling to see if there's something to pick off. That's all. There's no harm in just flying around, hovering down, looking, seeing what's available. And if nothing's there, we move on. But if something is there, maybe we're in for a big prize. I don't know. The Cowboys, McCarthy and a pick for Shanahan? Maybe that's the move, chat. Jerry Jones has been impressed with McCarthy this year. Maybe the rest of the league has as well. But who's like a younger, maybe? Because, the Titans, Callahan maybe? I don't know how the league feels about him and what he's done this year. The Jets, if they still had Saleh back for the Niners for Shanahan, that could be interesting. Maybe if you're the Niners, you talk to Vrabel on the side. And you go, hey, Mike, we're thinking about maybe seeing if we could get a first and a third for Shanahan like the Saints did with Sean Payton. Would you be wanting to come in to coach this team with a couple of future assets and, see if you can take us the next step up? Maybe that's the move, chat. At the end of the day, like I'm saying, I'm advocating for trading for Shanahan. So if I'm the Niners, I would still end up keeping him. I'm not saying the Niners should trade him. I'm, again, making the case for the other teams and saying, hey, call the Niners. See if Shanahan's available. Now's the time to check. Because odds are they're probably going to be good next year. Super Bowl hangover. This year was down to be a bound year. A lot of injuries, year from hell. Things didn't work out. So while they're feeling bad, now's the time to swoop in, chat. Take advantage. See if we can nab Kyle Shanahan away from the Niners. But there's not another coach, I think, from a team that I want to nab. Doug Peterson? Anybody want to trade for Doug Peterson? Do they have 8th round picks? Start making stuff up. Cash? We'll give you $70,000 for Doug Peterson. See what happens. But yeah, chat. In terms of other important storylines for the day, let's take one more quick scan through the league here before we have to go heal our rash, chat. And then I really hope I don't get a rash. That would not be good. I don't want my Christmas to be ruined, but we gotta show up for the stream, chat. Pause. We gotta show up for the chat. This is where we're supposed to be right now, so hopefully it doesn't bite us literally with a rash. But the Lions. Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to mention earlier. Was I think Jameson Williams might be taking Tyreek Hill's fastest player in the league belt. And not to say that Tyreek Hill is no longer fast, but we just haven't seen like the Tyreek Hill explosive plays this year. But again, with the Lions offense being as dynamic as it is, and Jared Goff being better than Tua, I'm certain is part of it. But still, Jameson Williams, the amount of times he's just been streaking down the field, wide open on some of these throws, hauling it in, pulling away from defenders is just kind of crazy at this point. And he had another one today against the Bears where he was a couple of steps in front of the defender, caught the pass, stumbled forward while catching the pass, and then after he regained his balance, was somehow still not tackled from behind, and then managed to pull away from the defense again. And it's just like, oh man, this kind of speed is, I mean, that's that Tyreek Hill level top-notch speed. And the amount of those plays that he's had this year, I would be okay with giving him that label. And again, maybe Tyreek Hill is still able to beat Jameson Williams in a foot race. Tyreek Hill is still our dude. Like, we're not going to doubt Tyreek Hill yet. But I guess Gibbs has had a couple of faster plays as well. Turpin hit the fastest speed. Thomas, Gibbs, Barkley. Barkley with a couple of 20s. Gibbs is in here. Barkley? 3 of the top 10? So Saquon Barkley, fastest player in the league? Derrick Henry in the mix. Taylor as well. So it turns out Jameson Williams is nowhere to be seen on top speed. That's actually kind of crazy, chat. I feel like that almost goes to the point of what we're saying. But is this tracking the player with the ball? So yeah, this is fastest ball carriers. So I feel like Jameson Williams has almost been so fast before the pass has gotten there that he's separated and just his quickness, and then he's not even running at top speed a lot of the times when he gets in the end zone. Like, make no mistake, Jameson Williams is, I think, probably a little faster than Jonathan Taylor. Like, that's disrespect, but I'm just taking shots, I guess, at my own guy because I don't want to get the other fan bases mad. But I would still take Jameson Williams in a foot race. Oh, Brian Thomas ran that 4.3, though. That makes a ton of sense. So I could see Brian Thomas taking that fastest receiver label as well. Does it have a... Okay, yards after catch. Let's see if he's in the mix here. Tylan Wallace? Let's go actual yards after the catch. Tylan Wallace had the longest yards after the catch play. That 84-yard touchdown. So actually, Jameson Williams might suck and has had 0 big plays, but maybe it's in like that 50 to 40-yard range as well, too. We need to justify our point, chat. Let us see. Does this have the touchdown log? So 5 touchdowns this year for Jameson Williams. 17.8 yards of reception on 48 catches. But this year, I mean, look at this, chat. This is exactly it. I guess this is for his career, but for this year, his touchdowns were 52, 70, 37, and 64. And then last week finally had the first short touchdown. And then let's see how long that touchdown was. Pause. Again today. It was 82. 82 was his longest of the day today. So he was all over it again. Let's see Tyreek Hill. Again, it's a belt thing. It's not a foot race thing. But Tyreek Hill has, he has 5 touchdowns as well. 67 catches. It's a little more volume, but let's see how his touchdowns this season compare. Ooh, did I see a... So he had an 80-yarder in week 1 against Jacksonville. And then since then, Chad, his next 4 touchdowns have been 1 yard, 8 yards, 12 yards, and 4 yards. So while Tua, I'm certain, and Mike McDaniels, I'm certain, are going to be criticized and have been criticized, and the team has definitely underachieved a little bit. Make no mistake, Chet, they're not getting this. The offense was built around a certain sort of explosiveness, and it hasn't necessarily been that. This year, Achane, of course, has been able to make big plays. Waddle out with injury. But yeah, look at Tyreek Hill, 49th for receivers. Like, you can have a good receiver grade and your quarterback maybe not have the best receiver season. Jameis Winston better than Tua, according to Pro Football Reference. I agree. I'd rather watch Jameis. I'd rather have Jameis as my quarterback. They're both going to win the same amount of games. At least I'll have more fun watching Jameis Winston. But I think that's the belt we wanted to give away, chat. Yeah, the Rams got the win. The Eagles, like we said, they definitely should have won this game. The Commanders turned the ball over 5 times, and with Drake May at least covering today, and the Commanders now with another miraculous win, like we're saying, the Bears fans just continue to just sink into the couch, chat. The pillow continues to just go up over the face. Like, it's not good. They definitely feel a little nervous about their number 1 overall pick. But again, at the end of the day, they had Kenny Pickett. So scoring 33 with Kenny Pickett is honestly kind of impressive. And there was a 4th down play where it was like 4th and 6, and they obviously had to get it. But he threw it to A.J. Brown for like 3 yards. And A.J. Brown had a defender draped all over him and needed to get the play. Oh, excuse me, chat. Needed to make the defender miss in order to lunge forward and get the first down. And just so smooth, caught the ball while simultaneously juking the defender. The defender glides right by him, and it's like he doesn't even really have to fight for the first down. He can run and get yards after the catch and make an awesome play. And I don't know, Chad. I've been kind of secretly in the back of my mind thinking A.J. Brown is the best receiver. I guess, Tyreek Hill. Every week there's a new best receiver in the league. But in fantasy, I always feel like, I don't know, just something about A.J. Brown. If I was doing the real life fantasy draft and I was on the clock and it was like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill. Like, if I had my pick of all these guys and I knew I was only going to get one of them, and I was like, okay, I have to take one, I might just take A.J. Brown. I probably would take, at this point, I would probably maybe just take Jetta for the public perception of not leaving Jetta on the board. But I would take Jetta and just be like, I hope A.J. Brown is not the best player here. He would be the player I'd be most scared of for sure. Again, Jamar Chase is always terrifying as well, too. But yeah, I guess if we're going to talk about emotions, chat, maybe A.J. Brown does make me get mixed feelings as a football fan, chat. Shout out. I would get an A.J. Brown jersey. That's what we mean by that. I would cheat on the Colts and get an A.J. Brown jersey. He has achieved jerseydom status as a non-Eagles fan. But not even, I guess, been in and out with injury as well, too. Let's see what he is in the per game stats here real quick, and then we'll take off for the night. We got to, of course, shout out A.J. Brown to end off the live stream. I think that's the only way to do it, chat. Pause. a good old A.J. Brown shout out. I don't think you guys would have been surprised. But let's see here. Yards per game, he is... Yeah, top 5 in yards a game. Again, right behind Jetta. Oh, Puka, Nico. Okay, we got to update the list in our mind, chat. That mental list. Tyreek Hill, why is he still in there? Get him out of there. Get Puka in there. Puka's taking Tyreek. Tyreek Hill, Puka got you wiped down. Nico got you wiped down. AJ got you wiped down. Malik Neighbors got you wiped down. Tyreek Hill, come back to us, brother. We can get one more. We get a couple more good seasons out of you. It's still in there. I still believe. Brian Thomas, he'll have you wiped down next year. Everybody. But yeah, top 5 in yards per game. Let's see. Success percentage. Ooh, a running back in here, a tight end. Couple tight ends. So if we go receivers, we got Godwin at 7 games played. Amon-Ra and A.J. Brown are the top 2 success percentage receivers. Do they have the completion percentage when targeted? Let's see. And this is another interesting one because it can be a little volume thing where maybe a guy with not so much volume but more efficiency. So look at that. A.J. Brown is just 9 right off the bat, but we got the tight ends in here, which for the weapon conversation, the greater weapon conversation, I mean, Kittle, Mark Andrews, of course. Like, they're every bit as important to an offense as a receiver like A.J. Brown in terms of that receiving element. But just for straight receivers, so Terry McLaurin, number 1, Jaden Reed, number 2, A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra. Shout out Jalen Naylor, 31 targets. Probably not quite enough to get in the mix. Same with Godwin, 7 games played, RIP. Bateman in Austin, Calvin Austin in the mix as well too. Keon Coleman, volume a little low, but still there. So these are the kind of the top guys for this season. And yeah, A.J. Brown is 3rd. McLaurin, impressive this year, of course. I think this maybe of course this speaks to McLaurin. I mean, we don't want to just immediately discredit McLaurin because he's been one of those guys, if he had a good quarterback, like, what could he do? And it's like, what are we seeing? When you throw to him, he's the most efficient in the league. But, you know, that Washington offense and how they use Jaden Daniels as well, too. It's not the NBA. Jaden Daniels definitely accounts for that. Oh, are we going to end this on an internet lockup, an internet freeze? Again, chat, maybe this is one of the last times that this will happen. I don't think that this is the internet speed's fault, though. I don't know what this is. Computer problems. Oh, chat, we lost it. Look at this. IT issues live. The computer just pooping out live on the chat. Shout out to the old restore button. We'll get it back. Don't worry, buddy. We're almost done. We've got to check these Terry McLaurin grades, and then we'll be out of here. And then the A.J. Brown grade. And then the Jetta one. And then one more. And then one more. Let's see here, chat. Real quick before 16th. Yeah, 81.6. Elite. Jaden Daniels, top 5 as a rookie. In the C.J. Stroud role. I mean, you're running back the same script, chat. They're just reusing storylines. We're losing recipes and we're reusing storylines. It's just what it is. What were we going to look up here? Philly. A.J. Brown. We're losing recipes. That's iconic, chat. I've had that stuck in my head for 3 days. It's not, of course, that I've saw it 3 days ago, but you just sometimes you just get a clip stuck in your head. You get a saying. Sometimes you just get your own drops in your own brain, like your own radio show drops. And the one that's been on repeat for me is, we're losing recipes. I was literally at work on Friday just pushing tables together for a reservation, setting up for an incoming group, and just thinking, running around this restaurant thinking, we're losing recipes. Somebody tell them we're losing recipes. But yeah, A.J. Brown, number 3 receiver on the Hall of Fame career forming for A.J. Brown. Of course, not a hot take, but sometimes, I wanted to be the first one to say it. A.J. Brown, future Hall of Famer. There, I got it. Boom. Perfect way to end it off. Calling the A.J. Brown Hall of Fame case. Jordan Maladia Of course, solid run here too as well. But shout out to Hurts. Hopefully the concussion doesn't hurt too bad. And hopefully you're back. Oh, you didn't see that, chat. Wait a second. Let me get the page brought back up here. Okay, there we are. Locked in. Yeah. You guys can see it now. A.J. Brown. Yeah, the last couple of years. Shout out to PFF for at least a mini access if you're in the top 3. But number 2 receiving grade this year. Number 3 overall receiver. I guess there's probably... I mean, there's all the different grades that they put in to make up the final grade. Let's see here, chat. A.J. Brown's run blocking grade. Run block, 51.1. Not good, chat. A.J. Brown needs to up the run blocking, but the receiving is on point. Hopefully Puka's in the top 3. I want to see what his run block grade is. Pause. Let's see. Los Angeles, chat. I was looking for the Rams down there. Is Puka in the top 3? Puka's number 1! Whoa! Shout out, chat. Yeah, I think that's about right. That's just what I was saying. The guy that I would take over him might be Puka because of the... Look at the blocking grades. Yeah, 75.5. Get that up. Pause. A.J. Brown. That's how we're going to end this off. A.J. Brown, get it up. Hey, yo. The running grade, not great. 7th out of 8th receivers in terms of jet sweeps. But I feel like he can be effective on that. I feel like that's not totally fair. So maybe not totally fair to the A.J. Brown run blocking grade either. But Puka. We were the first to say A.J. Brown, future Hall of Famer. Puka Nacua, future Hall of Famer. But if you make the first team All-Pro as a rookie, it's honestly not like too much of a hot take. And even for a guy like Puka, where you go, okay, 6th round pick could, even in this offense, like he had an explosive year, maybe it's an explosive couple of years. And, you know, again, Hall of Fame career is an illustrious career. Like, you can have a great career and not be a Hall of Famer, but that's quite the head start to get. And Nico Collins is number 2. I think that would be my personal top 3 rankings as well. As much as I would respect as much as I think I would call Justin Jefferson the best receiver in the league, maybe I got to start changing that up, chat. Maybe these other guys are catching up. Again, I don't think Jetta's fallen off at all. Like, Jetta's still producing the same amount. It's just these other guys are playing so well. And, you know, Nico is a little more physical, I think, than Jetta. Same with A.J. Brown, so that's just a little bit of a different element that you get there. And then Puka, again, with some of the run blocking, with just some of the overall physicality and the blocking on the edge and how he can add to your team in that way. I mean, look at... Oh, we don't want to pay, chat. Yikes. Let's see. Oh, okay. Are we going to get Nico's grade? I think even Nico's run blocking grades are good as well. Yeah, so his is at least, you know, light green. Then a little bit better on the pass blocking. On some of those screens, maybe. But that is definitely something that I guess that is why probably Jetta maybe slipped the way he did a little bit in the draft. You know, is he thin? Is he a little undersized? Blah, 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 blah. Whatever. But, I mean, is that crazy to say, chat, that we would have Jetta as our 4th personal receiver in the league? Is it crazy to say we would take... Oh, man, would we actually take Puka number 1? Maybe we would take Puka number 1. Ooh. Puka, then A.J. Brown, then Nico Collins. That's a crazy list. I'm not saying that's actually the list. I'm just hypothetically throwing it out. But is that like saying, you know, oh, Illmatic is the 4th best album of all time? And you're like, well, what are the 3 albums above it? And you're like, oh, yeah, okay. I get it. Maybe I don't agree with it, but I see where you're going there. So maybe you don't agree with our list, but Pro Football Focus does. Maybe the quarterback play is a part of that. But Sunday Night Football is about to start, people. We will go catch that. The Spurs, I think, are playing right now. Is that game underway? Let's see here. NBA. Oh, no, that's right. They played the other night. They played last night. I'm dumb, chat. I was in a time machine there for a second. Maybe they're about to play because I'm about to replay the game. Who knows? Wemby was fantastic. Wemby's been fantastic, so you'll be catching me watching those highlights anyways. Make no mistake. But I guess Rockets-Raptors, 3 minutes left. Rockets look like they're probably going to take the win. Pelicans-Nuggies at halftime. is not looking good for the Nuggets. Jokic 2 for 5, taking it easy, giving the Pelicans a little 8-point lead going into halftime. I guess he's going to see what Jamal Murray can do. 4 for 9 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3 though, 13 points. You'll take it if he's going to start hitting shots again. But anyways, chat, we'll be back later in the week as well too. It's Christmas week, so don't worry, we're not slowing down whatsoever. We'll still be here, and we might be doing a couple special stuff over the course of the Christmas week as well too. New Year's, chat, right around the corner. It's going to be an exciting time on the Rem and Stamp Pod. You don't want to miss it. So as long as they don't come and arrest us for those unpaid speeding tickets that we definitely did pay, our lawyers told us to say that we paid it, and yes, we paid it, or / will be paid. But make no mistake, unless we are arrested for that, the Rem and Sam Pod will continue. Because we can still record with the Rash, chat. It would not make for a fun Christmas, but do we have to go? Would we just go Kanye deposition style with a ski mask? Who knows? But either way, we will be back later in the week, hanging out with you guys. As always, thank you guys for jumping on. Have a good night. Subscribe if you haven't. Join us over on the social feeds. Join us on the Spotify platform, the podcast platforms as well. Spotify and Apple, they're all out there. But the podcast platforms as well, we're out there. But that's it. Hey, that's it, guys. We're jumping off. Thank you guys for jumping on.